nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Nothing is every day.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the spring sale, March 24th through April 3rd, and get 35% off paints and stains with prices starting at $28.92. That means 35% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, 35% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. 1620 The Zone.
And they'll walk out to the bleachers. Sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines. Or they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game. And it'll be as if they'd dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick, they'll have to brush them away from their faces. People will come, Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
To all that celebrate, happy opening day. My favorite days of the year. Opening day for Major League Baseball is today. All 30 teams in action. Half will lose, but it is opening day. We have made it. It is a breath of fresh air. We are all adorned in our favorite gear here in studio. Cubs, Guardians, and Astros are all represented. I hope a lot of places, like at your business, they allow you to wear your favorite team's gear.
Yeah.
I expect the other shows today to follow suit.
We got, a couple other Cubs fans. I think Connor's coming in dressed in uniform.
Yeah.
I think he's got the pants, he got the stirrups and the cleats in the offseason. So he'll come dressed in uniform.
Is he going powder blues, though? Since the Royals are rocking powders?
He has to.
Yeah.
They go powder blue at the K later this afternoon against the Twins. But this is a great day. This is one of my favorite days of the year, as I mentioned. The optimism that surrounds your favorite team, my team, who perennially was in the playoffs for a nice little short run there. We're in the second rebuild, but I'm still optimistic. If I was living in Chicago or if I was in a major league city, I think I would take this day off from work. I would find a way on my opening day of my team. Now, if they're on the road, it might be a little bit different, but if they're playing at home, I'm going to find a way to get to the ballpark for opening day. And anybody that is rooted or been involved in baseball, regardless of level, opening day is like really, really special. It's magical. It's an everyday thing once you get past, the start of the season. And so everybody that celebrates, again, happy opening day.
Yes.
I had a professor in college that if we had class on opening day, and he was very upfront about it, it was in the syllabus, it was in emails, class was canceled that day because he was going to be at opening day. And he's a Cardinals fan, but it didn't matter. He was going to opening day at Kauffman because that's what you do. You're supposed to go to opening day. And he would tell us, hey, I invite you to come say hi if you're down there, but we are not having class that day. So, all right. And so to this day, I still think of that. And he'll be there today.
I've never gone to a game on opening day, which is unfortunate. But it's a minor league opening day. Well, Omaha, not some Omahas, but yeah. And I had to delay my exit from the house because they were running down the top 10. Sports Center was doing the top 10 opening day moments. And you know what I was a little bit bothered by, and this would be right in your alley, Sharpie, is no Tuffy Rhodes in the top 10 of opening day moments when he hit, was it 3? It was 3 home runs, was it not?
Mm-hmm.
How is that not in the top 10? I mean, there was a couple no hitters. You know, you had my former Cleveland great Bob Feller got in there number 2, Jackie Robinson number 1, Hank Aaron tying the 714 mark on an opening day. I don't know how many people realize that was an opening day moment as well. But Tuffy Rhodes, three bombs in one game. That's
when
that's got to be up there.
Watching.
Yeah, I it was awesome. Like, that was my freshman year, and a buddy of mine who was a big Cubs fan tried to mimic Tuffy Rhodes' batting style because of just that game. And then it's like, all right, whatever happened to Tuffy Rhodes?
Hashtag ESPN fail.
I agree.
Because those were 3 home runs off Dwight Gooden on that opening day.
It wasn't even some schlub. It was.
Well, then there's part of that opening day because, an unknown iCub that started the year in Chicago rockets 3 home runs. He had 4 hits in the game, but the Cubs lost.
Yeah.
I think Cubs ended up losing that game like 12-8.
Yeah.
But they were all 3 home runs off of Gooden. The only opening day I've seen in person was, I think, outside of championships, World Series for the Royals, Super Bowl championships for Chiefs, is 1988. In the afternoon, you had Toronto and Kansas City playing. George Bell hit 3 home runs that day, ironically, off Brett Saberhagen. And then that night, KU and Oklahoma played downtown at Kemper Arena.
Oh, wow.
And so I was at the George Bell off of Brett Saberhagen game. That was just a crazy game. But it was this was fun. It was like a huge day in Kansas City.
Then you get a natty.
Yeah. Fred White told me the story about that day too, because obviously he had to work, called the game with Denny Matthews, and then he went and did CBS radio that night at Kemper. So it was quite the day. And they said it was warm. It was perfect. It was, people now, this goes back to our discussion yesterday. They had a Final Four at Kemper Arena in modern days. Yes, they did.
Well, another part of opening day, and we're starting earlier and earlier. We're starting on March 30th. Even minor league baseball. So minor league baseball opens up tomorrow. The Storm Chasers begin on the road, and they're home next week. But we used to start middle of April. That's why April 15th is Jackie Robinson Day, because in 47 on opening day, that's when Jackie Robinson made his debut. And Hank Aaron on there?
Yeah, that was number 3. Yeah, that's 714. Yeah, because I don't know how many people realize that was actually an opening day moment. But that was,
the Reds always had opening day.
Yeah, so that was, it was cool. But that was, I kept sticking around because I'm like, all right, still no Tuffy. We got the number 7, no Tuffy. I'm like, is it Tuffy in the top 5? Because now we're starting to get some real historical moments. Like you're getting into Hank Aaron, you're getting into Jackie Robinson. Like, whoa, we're getting.
I'd say consider what you were watching. I bet MLB Network would have thrown it in their top 10 because they have people dedicated that love baseball, truly.
And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Jackie Robinson's got to probably be 1, or if not 2, probably 1. But they get to 3, I'm like, is Tuffy Rhodes number 2? Because there's no mention of it. And for me, and we're talking about generations of watching Major League Baseball on opening day and your greatest memories and some of the greatest moments in it. But maybe it's because I have a little bit more recency bias. Like, I remember, like you, Jimmy, I remember that one. Obviously, you remember it, Sharp, being a Cubs fan, but I remember that one watching. I'm like, whoa. Because you're right. It's like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard of this guy. And then my buddy who I'm watching with, who's a diehard Cubs fan, he's like, I don't know who he is. He's like, but this is awesome. And like, he kind of had the bat cocked a little bit to the side. And so my buddy started trying to hit like that. I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna be the best thing for you, but it worked for him. But yeah, I'll never forget that one. And I thought, man, this is kind of like a historical moment.
See, I like Tuffy Rhodes because he was with the Astros for 4 years prior to being with the Cubs.
Yeah,
so I remember.
Didn't even know that. But yeah, I realized that there's probably some multi-homer games. The Tuffy Rhodes one. I hope if they expanded it out to top 15 that would have made it.
No, they just found some Yankees or Red Sox highlights.
Most likely.
That's it. The year before, I think the iCubs won the AAA championship or whatever American Association, whatever league they were playing in. Now I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Come on, baseball. But it is opening day. So everybody celebrate. Like some people are like, I'm not a baseball fan. I could care less. Tell me about spring football. We will tell you about spring football. We also tell you what we think is going to happen. We'll have our predictions, our favorite overs and unders. Well, I found a lot of teams that I like the under on. Like a lot of teams. There's gonna be a couple of teams that are really, really bad. I mean, there's all kinds of storylines this year with the new rules that are in play. Ohtani, we kind of forget that Aaron Judge signed a $360 million contract in the offseason. You could make a strong case, and I don't know what your predictions are. You could make a strong case that the same teams that were in the postseason last year will be in the postseason this year, and there won't be anybody new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I was doing my predictions,
Mine got very boring.
it was like, okay, come on. You find something different. And I was like, but these are the teams I think they're going to be there.
There's a team that just a little tease. There's a team that I don't have making the playoffs, but I have knocking on the door that I thought, oh, maybe that's something. But I mean, at the end of the day, I still didn't put them in the playoffs. Spoiler, though, they are one of the teams that I have is hitting the over on their win-loss. So, but yeah, it's I found myself getting kind of boring with it. But you mentioned the rule changes, like the shift, what teams that could impact to offensively, especially teams that might be a little bit more offensively challenged when it comes to power numbers. So yeah.
So good luck today. Enjoy opening day if you're an Oakland fan, if you're a Washington fan, if you're a Rocky fan. At least you got opening day.
At least if you're a Rockies fan, you get a nice view of the mountains.
Yeah.
Well, my buddy Richie, thank God he's got the New York Giants going for him and the New York Knicks because he's a diehard A's fan.
Yeah.
So much that he went to spring training to watch the A's play.
That is diehard.
They are awful. They hit 216 as a team last year, and they might be worse this year.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
What happened to the Oakland Athletics? Bring back Bob Melvin. Oh, wait a minute. He's in Southern California. All right. So we'll do that throughout the show, but glad to have you in as we're off and running on this opening day Thursday. Off and running, we think, will be Matt Verzal, who Verz is his annual trip to opening day at Wrigley Field. He is already in Chicago. If you're following him on Twitter, you've followed his journey throughout Chicago. Once again, we will see how he is coming up in about 3 hours when he joins the show. Also, Sarah Baker Hansen stops by, an update on the beer bracket. We are getting to the nitty-gritty of the beer bracket that SBH revealed a couple of weeks ago. Also, ask us anything today. Get in a question. It could be a baseball question. It could be anything. And you got a chance to win a gift card from Oscar's Pizza and Grill, which is a good spot to watch baseball. They're good baseball people out at the 173rd and Center location. So they'll put on any game for you. And we're going from noon to nighttime. I mean, all 30 teams are playing today. Kind of weird that the Dodgers have opening day at Dodger Stadium and it's not a day game.
That's what I was saying last. Come on.
Or we used to have where Cincinnati would be the opening day game and they'd have the parade in Cincinnati.
Right.
And, then they would be the first to start and everybody would follow. And then we didn't have everybody playing on opening day.
Right.
But it's changed. I mean, we just like James Earl Jones said, we just keep moving right along. And then also Brian Edwards with thoughts on the Final Four, the men's Final Four coming up in Houston. That's the lineup brought to you by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. So we'll talk a lot of baseball today, but we will talk about an announcement that was made last night on his monthly appearance.
Very cool.
On the Husker Sports Network. Trev Alberts, who, when he played at Nebraska, Frank Solich was the running back coach. And something that has been in the works for a while was finally partially revealed last night on the air that Frank Solich, who recently retired from coaching after the best run that Ohio University has ever seen as a football coach, and of course his time here as a player, as an assistant coach, and as a head coach, and only being back to the state periodically, either to visit family, to recruit, or to be part of the Outland banquet a few years ago at a request by Tom Osborne. Last night, Trev Alberts announced that Frank Solich will be back with his family for the spring game coming up on April 22nd, where 52,000 tickets have been sold.
And more coming now.
And I know I know a lot of people say, well, this is long overdue and I can't believe this is happening. I'll tell you the behind the scenes stuff. This was not easy to convince Frank to be part of this. Very prideful man who, as you would if you are somebody that had been associated with that football program for the longest time, and the way that it all ended, your pride was it took a big hit. And it took a while for Frank, even at Ohio, in my opinion, to get over what happened here. And he's never been about, this is about me. Okay, look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me running the football as a little tiny guy. Look at me as the best running back coach in college football. Look at me now as the head football coach at Nebraska. He's never been a look at me guy. Um, I've got to know him really, really well, more as a head coach because of our time on the radio network. And he's always been great to me. And we've communicated periodically since he left here. But he's somebody who this was not easy to convince. But once Trev got in the power chair, you have somebody that has intimate feelings and knowledge and a relationship with Coach Solich that you can start to work on. Coach, we just like to say thank you. And we're going to find a way to say thank you in the best possible way. Now, there is another announcement coming. I kind of think I know what it is, but the fact that Trev and other people, it's not just Trev, it's other people that convince Frank that, you know what, Nebraska would like to say thank you, and we'd like to have you back. To get to the finish line that Frank says, okay, I think is huge, because that was not easy for a man who he's got a lot of pride, and he's still got a little bit of hurt about the way things ended here. But man, April 22nd, to see Frank Solich back in Memorial Stadium, if that doesn't warm your cockles, you don't have any cockles.
And I'll ask you this because you're a lot more familiar with Frank as far on a personal level and having, interaction with him far more than I ever did. I thought that the date itself was really interesting, having it on the spring game as opposed to, a Saturday afternoon in the fall. And this is what I was led to believe, and I'd be curious if I'm close or if I'm way off, that in order for Frank to maybe feel comfortable, and this maybe goes back to just the kind of guy he is, where he doesn't want to really make it all about himself, that the spring game would be the perfect opportunity because it's not a game day. It's not talking about Nebraska versus whichever opponent. And this is a more of an opportunity that it's during spring practice. Yeah, there's always a little bit of buzz, but nowhere near as what you have in the fall and during the season, that Frank himself wouldn't want to take attention off of the competition itself. But knowing how big the spring game is, and it's a chance for people to show up, and you're not having to pay whatever you pay for tickets. Like, this just seemed to be a little bit more in Frank's comfort zone based on the things that I know about him, as opposed to an actual game day in Lincoln.
I'm not sure. Motion. And once you sell it to him that, it it's not about you. It's about us saying thank you as an athletic department, as a football program. And there was a lot of people, a lot of fans, and this isn't about, well, should he have been retained, should he have been fired? That's long in the past. This is about somebody who gave basically their entire football life to the University of Nebraska football program, that you never got to say goodbye, or there was never any closure. And probably on Frank's side, there'll never be closure on this. But to be able to have this opportunity, and there are a lot of important people in the history of Nebraska football that have drifted away. Whether they decide on their own that their experience wasn't great here and they really don't want to be involved with Nebraska football, or with all the different changes and new faces, they just don't feel comfortable because they don't know anybody. That longtime secretary is no longer there. That longtime strength and conditioning coach is no longer there. There's still equipment guys that are there, but those people are fewer and fewer. So you drift away from the program, and then you get somebody that was part of the program that is an athletic director, and you have also a head football coach that I don't if you want to bring Frank Solich back, great. You want to bring anybody back, great.
Yeah.
And so you extend the olive branch, and then you give them a reason why we would like you to be back in the family, because it's important for you to be around our football program, or at least we acknowledge and we say thank you. A lot of fans have emotions. I will tell you where the bigger emotion of a day like that will be, or an announcement like last night, is with people that worked with Frank, whether they be assistant coaches, whether they be support staff, but even more so, every player at Nebraska that either was on a roster when he was an assistant coach or when he was the head coach, that's where the emotion will come from. Those people that work day in and day out with Frank that go, man, this is really, really cool. And this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's where those people, they will have a huge emotional roller coaster, I'm pretty sure, on April 22nd.
Yeah, I would imagine just about everyone who can be physically able to attend will attend. The coaches that are still with us will be part of it. And you brought up something that I also thought was kind of revealing about Trev's conversation about this last night and being able to sort of pitch it, if you will. This isn't about, we don't necessarily have to make this about you, but it's the fans who really want to be able to celebrate you.
You don't think it was, hey, Frank, since you left, I don't know if you've been following, but
Yeah. And
can you just come back and maybe just go to midfield and
Right.
do can you sprinkle something
We need something.
on the end on midfield
There's
and
the Billy Goat.
then walk
Yeah.
off the field? That's, we're going to put you up on the scoreboard.
we won't go
but-
as far as a live
yeah.
chicken, but
you know what? If you could, I don't want to, tell you too much, but that's kind of why we're having you back.
yeah.
Walk off like John Bender with your fist in the air.
Yeah. And like, I feel as if, and what you brought up with the administration in previous years, even for, Bill Moose, I'll use as an example, a guy who always seemed to say the right thing when it came to, respecting Nebraska traditions and the people who came before. But if you're a guy like Frank Solcher, if you're somebody who's kind of been through there, that played and coached and then was a head coach there, you're not being fooled by that. And I think in order to maybe drop your guard just a little bit, the person who's orchestrating it is someone you are intimately familiar with, is someone that you had a chance to be on the coaching staff when he played, someone that I'm sure you have regular conversations with as well. I think that goes a long way. And knowing that there's going to be a presence of, guys like Tom Osborne, coaches, players, yet it's going to seem organic from a standpoint of this isn't to get the public behind our current coaching staff or the public behind our current administration. This is something that is led by one of us, that is led by someone who knows Frank on a much more personal level than any of the other athletic directors that we've seen here recently. I think that goes a long way. It kind of goes back to what you said about the familiarity and, the people that you remember being around the football office. And even if some of those people are no longer there, there's a familiar person that is now in charge. And I think that also probably relaxes that individual and Frank. And I think that probably maybe eases a little bit of that tension as much as that it can be, where you feel like, all right, you know what, now this is as familiar or recognizable as it's going to be. This seems like the right time. I can't just keep, putting this off. They want to see me. There's part of Frank that would like to see him, but on the right terms, the right circumstances. And I feel like this is probably as good as it's been. And I guarantee as we lead up to that, Matt Rule's probably going to have something. I don't think Matt Rule is going to go too deep into it, because I think Matt Rule also feels, because just based on what we've heard from him, I think he's pretty intuitive of understanding sometimes in a situation like this, less is more. He's going to play sort of the student and sort of the fan from afar role, but I don't think he's going to go all in to try to make it sound like to the fans like, hey, I know everything there is to know about Frank, and I'm just as excited as you. I think Matt Rule is going to play that well, where there's going to be a lot of respect and appreciation on Matt Rule's side, but I think he's going to be more of like, I'm going to sit back and really appreciate this moment.
I think Matt Rule doesn't feel threatened.
No, absolutely
They
not.
had 175 players at practice on Saturday. All right, we know how former players like to have their voice heard. Right? He's not threatened. He realizes the power of what former players can do as ambassadors for your program. It's on the person, if you for somebody telling, hey, this is what you should do. Also, you got a new guy he doesn't know any of these guys. Maybe some he's ran across, in previous football life.
Yeah.
But he's not threatened.
No. Anything,
So-
he'll geek out as a football guy.
Yeah, well, he also likes what he's learning about Nebraska football.
Mhm.
I heard from a couple of people that work for Frank. They haven't been back to Memorial Stadium since the 03 season.
Yeah.
That will be back on the spring game. But there's probably some players that haven't, completely left the program, but maybe haven't come to a game since they were playing here and Frank was your head coach. You might see them as well. The staff members and the former players will be the most emotional about seeing their former boss or head coach or position coach in that stadium. I mean, he draws. I'll tell you a story coming up next hour. I mean, whenever I think of Frank, there's a lot of good moments, but he'll always have a professional moment in my life that I'll share after 7. But just look at the running backs that have played for him.
Mhm.
I mean, wouldn't it be cool to have every running back that played for Frank Solich get an invite to be there? When he was back to be honored at the Outland Banquet, they had a private ceremony with all the running backs, a lot of them that still live here in the Omaha area. And from what I understand, that room was pretty emotional of those running backs seeing a guy who not only had an important part in their football life, but is an important person in the makeup of just their life
Mhm.
and things that he taught them while he was their position coach. So there's a lot of really cool things about that last night. And I know that they've been working on this for a while. And for them to finally get it over the finish line and for Frank to go, okay, that's a win for Nebraska. And you could honestly say before they ever turn the scoreboard on and they start playing for keeps in the fall, Nebraska football is on a nice little run of some PR moves. There hasn't been really any missteps in the first 120 plus days of Matt Rule. Yeah, now they haven't turned on the scoreboard yet.
Right.
But up to this point, this is a stretch of some pretty good PR moves and a pretty good vibe for Nebraska football. And it's been rare where you've gone this long where people wake up every morning that are a Nebraska football fan and go, you know what? I don't have any drama.
Yeah.
I don't have any drama.
Yeah.
There's actually exciting stuff, and I'm cool with that. I mean, that's so rare around here.
It's positive news.
All right, 6:34. We'll take your calls. Opening day of baseball. We got the Final Four for the men and the women coming up over the next couple of days, Friday and Saturday. Also, Trev spoke on men's basketball last night. 951-1620. You can always email us into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary or Handley at 1620thezone.com, or on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620, at Nick 1620 as well. We'll sprinkle in our predictions. We'll take your predictions as well as we get to opening day of Major League Baseball. For one of the rare times the Yankees and the Giants play. They open up the season at 12:05 today at the stadium with Anthony Volpe wearing number 11. Can you imagine having to ask Brett Gardner if you can wear number 11?
Is he Brett Gardner now managing his competitive slow pitch softball team? I'm not sure what he'd have to say about that. I feel like he would not like that.
I think he had to ask. The Yankees are running out of numbers.
That's what I've always thought.
Like the Yankees, yeah. When you see guys playing and they're wearing like 60 or 70,
Mhm.
they're like, I just got called up from the minors. He's not on the 40 man.
Like, no.
Like with the Yankees,
What we have.
yeah, you're gonna have guys that. I mean, you got Judge wears 99 for a reason, but
Yeah.
you're gonna have guys that are gonna be wearing 70 and 80 numbers with the Yankees because they're running out of numbers.
Right.
You can't walk in the door and go, you know what? I've always looked good in 2.
That's fantastic, but not
All right.
here.
You know what? I'm a catcher. You know what? 8 always looks good on a catcher. You're in the wrong organization, son.
88.
I
36,
play center field. I want to be number 7.
36 past the hour. There's Jimmy Nick. I'm Gary. It's mornings on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duck Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. cleanairradio.com.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Nothing is every day.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Tired of having a website that doesn't reflect the quality of your brand? At JM Online, we specialize in custom websites for unique business needs. Your website should be more than just a digital billboard. It should be a powerful tool that grows your business. Awarded Omaha's best web developers in 2023, we're dedicated to local business success. So if you're ready to take your website to the next level, go to jmonline.com and request a call.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 pre-K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the CUES Fund Board, which supports the CUES school system. To learn more, go to CUES Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
I thought learning a language would be too much work. Then I discovered Babbel. They make learning fun. J'aime Babbel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, quick and easy. And soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
My friend from Italy said my accent and pronunciation is perfect. It's because Babbel's lessons are designed by language teachers and voiced by real native speakers. Each lesson is like living in another country for 15 minutes.
I love that there's all kinds of ways to learn. Babbel's podcast or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
You learn words and phrases you actually use in real conversations.
In 3 weeks, I was starting to speak in another language. So easy.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than Babbel.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
It's time to get registered for this year's annual Clausen Leahy Maverick Run on April 22nd at Baxter Arena. This race has something for every type of runner with a 1-mile kids race, a 5K walk, and a 5K or 10K run. Plus, in conjunction with the kids race, there's a kids zone with a variety of activities inside Baxter Arena. The event starts at 8:30 a.m. on April 22nd. Go to omavs.com/Maverick Run to find out more information and to get registered. It's the Maverick Run at Baxter Arena, April 22nd. See you there.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Why was our music like NFL films, This Week in Baseball, back in the 70s, even a little bit later, like still resonates to this day? Yeah, it's even better than some of the stuff they roll out, like music montage nowadays.
I hear this, I think rain delay. I'm not going to lie, but still get very happy.
I miss This Week in Baseball. I miss the baseball bunch. I'm dating myself a little bit, but Baseball Bunch and This Week in Baseball in Des Moines when I was a kid, they would air back to back. I mean, I
Really?
learned a lot from Johnny Bench and the San Diego Chicken. I mean, I think maybe the Baseball Bunch is you guys might have been a little
I
bit
knew
younger.
of it. I never.
Same.
I can honestly say I didn't watch it. Yeah, knew of it.
I mean, maybe that's why we don't have as fundamentally we're not as good as baseball because the Baseball Bunch went off the air. But today is opening day of Major League Baseball. Will we have a walk-off pitch? Oh, you're not. Oh, I learned this in my draft the other night with some of the guys that are in Major League Baseball that are in my fantasy league. Major League Baseball told teams to stop referring to it as a clock. They are supposed to refer to it as a pitch timer.
Okay.
That came down, one of them was saying, like midway through spring training, that Major League Baseball wanted to have the phrase pitch timer. So will we have a walk-off pitch timer violation at any point during the season?
Pitch clock just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah,
easier.
I think Major League Baseball looks at clock and people, if you're going to be triggered by it, you're like, oh, we don't need a pitch clock. A timer? What, like an egg timer?
Huh?
Yeah.
But will we have a walk-off pitch, we're going to say clock?
Have you gotten used
violation?
to, do you refer to the old, previously known as the IR, as the IL? Because I thought when they changed it, I thought, I'm still going to refer to it as the IR, but I find myself actually smoothly transitioning nicely to IL now. I didn't think I would, and I was kind of against that. I would want to say no, but there's so damn many games.
Well, so today on the FanDuel, pitch clock violations by the pitcher, 8.5 today. Hitter violations is at 4.5 for today. That's what your total is on both of those on FanDuel for opening day.
I feel like the hitter violation, you could talk me into the over on that. I think I'm still staying on the under with the pitch timer violation.
Now, I will make a bold prediction with the pitch clock timer. 235 was the length of games in spring training.
Mm-hmm.
I after being involved in this out of Warner Park, don't focus so much on the length of a game. It's more about the pace of play.
Yes, absolutely.
Not the length of the game, pace of play.
Yep.
And as we get more used to this and the pace of play is a little bit quicker and your fans are locked in, hitters are locked in, pitchers are locked in, fielders are locked in because they have to be, where we're going to all of a sudden realize that, man, I like that pitch clock is college baseball. Because college baseball still, even with the pitch clock, is starting to drag. But we had 235 was the length of games in spring training. Do you know that we have not been under 3 hours in terms of game length in Major League Baseball since 2011?
It's not surprising.
I'd have thought earlier.
We were at 2 hours and 50 minutes in 2005. One of my bold predictions is the average length of a game in Major League Baseball this year will be 245.
And when you think about the pace of play versus total time, it's 100%. And in the college game, especially, you see it. We've talked about it a little bit, but it's I think a systemic issue in college baseball, and that is you tend to have guys that don't always, let's just say that they don't always have the 1-2-2-2 counts. They're seeing a lot of full counts. You're seeing people getting free passes. You can't control, when it comes to a pitch clock, you can't control how many times a guy's going to, a team is going to get hot. They're going to start, wrapping a dude around, or you're going to start getting a pitcher who can't find the zone. Those things tend to sort of slow the overall game down itself, but the pace, the in and out of the batter's box, in and out of the dugout in between innings, how often between hitters you get in the ball, you're going. Those things are noticeable. And when they started implementing that in minor league, I noticed the exact same thing where you would look in certain games at the final time, you're like, oh, wow, I'm surprised that crept over 3 hours because it felt a lot quicker. And if it feels a lot quicker, the average fan is not going to pay attention to the total time until you get into your car. If you're attending a game live, you're like, oh my gosh, it's already 10 o'clock. Wow, I thought that game moved a little bit quicker. Or at some point you look at your watch during the game and you realize that maybe it isn't going as quick. But that doesn't matter. As long as you are engaged in the game, whether you're watching on TV or you're watching at home, because it does have that quicker pace feel, that's a win for the product. That's 100% a win for the product.
I also think for the quality of play, because everybody's got to be locked in.
Yeah, exactly.
Pitcher's got to be locked in.
You're more in a rhythm.
Yeah, you're not going to let your mind wander if you're in the batter's box. You're not stepping out every pitch and adjusting your gloves.
Totally agree.
Guys are stealing bases, so pitcher, even with the restrictions on how many times they can throw over to first base, everybody's got it locked in. I think the quality of play will not suffer at all. And the spring training games I watched, I didn't notice it, at all. Now, the next thing we got to work on is the blackouts. All right, Manfred?
Yeah. No kidding.
Let's work on the blackouts, and we are cooking with peanut oil with baseball.
If you live in Iowa, you can't watch pretty much any baseball.
Was it six or seven teams?
Yeah.
I think they have in the legislature in Des Moines, somebody has proposed fighting that. Like in the state of Iowa, where you have 6 different teams are blacked out, which basically is everybody around you, that they want to change that. If Manfred can change the blackouts, he might actually, somebody might say, hey, Rob, nice job.
I'd be more excited about the
job.
government getting involved in that than the NIL.
And the thing is, if you
what, I would be a big fan. You bring that up. I'm voting, even if they're not even my state, I'm going to vote for the next congressmen or women that say, you know what? I'm going to help those international students with NIL, and I'm going to get rid of the blackouts.
Yep.
Reelected.
If you can run on that platform, you've got my vote.
Yeah, and where the ball goes if you fumble through the end zone. If you do those 3 things in Congress, because they should be at the top of the list.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's pressing matters.
I'll move to your state and I will vote for you. And you probably will not be reelected because there are other pressing needs in this
there
country.
are, but
you got something done.
I could admire the effort during your stay. If you get that done, hey, you know what?
I did my job.
You will go out with high marks in my book.
In the next hour, we'll give our predictions on what we think will happen in the AL East and the NL East. Well, there is the morning after the announcement of Trev Alberts last night, talking about Frank Solich coming back, and again, there's a lot of emotion. A lot of emotion for people that worked for Frank, worked with Frank, played for Frank, and fans. There is one problem I have with the announcement yesterday. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Frank Solich was here for more than just a cup of coffee as the head football coach at Nebraska. So after Trev makes the announcement last night on his radio show, the Husker Football Nation Twitter account tweets out, honoring a Husker legend. Frank Solich, period, Memorial Stadium, period, April 22nd, period, hashtag GBR. I have a problem with the graphic they used. Why? Not the picture of Frank Solich as a player or as a coach with his headset on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know what it is.
But as Patrick Quban.
I didn't even notice this until now.
Okay, so you got to give me a moment here.
I know what it is. I'll let you do it, though. I just now noticed it. And if it doesn't bother you, then I'm going to bring up something that bothers me.
So the graphic has, let's see, I think it's Troy Hasselbrook to his left, Patrick Kabongo to his right, and Frank running on the field. Could we have not used one of the
I know exactly where this is going.
awful seasons of Nebraska football?
Thank you.
With Frank as the head coach in 2002, and even more so, the worst uniforms that Nebraska football has ever worn.
Yep, the red splash.
I love everything else about this announcement. Why do we have to remember 2002? One, they were the worst, and I mean the worst. And I will fight people in the parking lot at 50th and Capitol if you want to go toe-to-toe. The 02 uniforms with the red big stripe down the sides.
Big splash.
and they wore white on the road with that big red stripe, are the worst uniforms Nebraska football has ever worn. So why did we choose that in the graphic and a season in which Nebraska went 7-7? Now, the current state, I would take 7-7.
Yeah.
A season that began 3-0, and then the Penn State game happened.
But that was the apocalypse of Nebraska football that year.
Well, they started 3-0, and then they finished 0-3. I mean,
Lost
they
to
went
Eli.
7-7.
Did they just not take pictures of Frank before?
I saw that tweeted out, and I was like, God! Oh, that uniform, that big stripe, the love of Steve Peterson in that uniform.
There's his presence. His presence is there.
Oh! Other than that, I love the announcement.
That is hilarious.
I love bringing Frankie back. But that's from the 02 season.
Nothing from the 99 season.
That's a great
01.
That's a great call. Like even if you're showing Nebraska
Hell, in 03.
taking the field in the Rose Bowl, going to the slaughter against Miami. I mean, at least it was a better
they
uniform.
still ran out there.
Yeah, it was a better uniform. Yeah, it's funny because as soon as you brought that up, I'm like, all right, what has he got? And immediately, yeah, the Hasselhoff's pants.
No, I opened the tweet again, and I just saw those big ass lines on the pants. I was like, well.
And you know what? Now looking at them and remembering them, they look even worse. Now I'm kind of angry.
I still remember. I mean, a long time ago,
Kabang.
I remember watching the Penn State game when it came on that night. What the hell is that?
Yeah, when they were doing the all whites, and they got smoked in that game.
I remember thinking, I hope it's a 1-game deal.
Boys, be nice. That was one of the years I was doing the sidelines. It was a miserable experience.
I
there.
can imagine.
And
It was nice out at least.
It
right?
wasn't just 40-7 on the field. It was the idiots that were in the stands.
Oh,
okay. There was a fight as the visiting locker room at State College as you walk under the stands and you walk right through the fans that happen to be leaving the game at the same time.
Oh.
And Penn State wasn't real interested in security.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, especially when you got a couple of temperamental guys that were on the offensive line on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, can I walk next to you on the
I love the announcement, but I don't need to see Patrick Kabongo, Deontay Grigsby, or Matt Harrion in the red striped pants. The worst uniform that Nebraska football has ever worn.
Was that when you saw this, was that one of the first things that popped out to you when you saw it last night?
Yes, unfortunately. because if you can't tell, I hated that uniform with a passion.
Yeah.
It
was bad.
Not uniform police, but I think Nebraska football has a nice, crisp look
Mm-hmm.
with the red jerseys, white pants, white jersey top, red pants. It's a nice, crisp look. It's got a great helmet.
It's synonymous in college football.
I'm okay with the kids that we got to do an alternate uniform. All right. But find me a recruit that's ever said, hey, because Nebraska wore Noid uniforms one year with duct tape as numbers, I came to Nebraska. I will listen closer. Those uniforms just, I despised. And I probably should have been booted. So that year they played Arizona State to begin the year.
Mm-hmm.
I might have made a comment or two on the air, but these are bad. These are bad uniforms.
Steve didn't hear that.
No.
Yet everybody listening was like, he's right.
I don't know that I went all in and said they were. Guys, it's going to be a bad year. They got terrible uniforms. I don't know what to say. Back up to you.
Take the under.
Did you do the whole, these are interesting. When you have the little bit of a pause and you throw an interesting, we can usually read between the lines on that. Without saying, these are awful.
It wasn't just the stripe on the big red stripe on the side of the pants. It was the thing that went up. I don't even know what
on the side. Yeah, that was like, it was, and it
thing,
kind of like arrowed into like a point. Yeah, it was off the side. So it connected with the big, very wide, long stripe, and then it came up to a point near the armpit. So it wasn't one thing to just completely just crap all over the pants logo or the scheme, but then hey, you know what? Let's take the jersey to another level too.
When they went back the next year, I remember watching the Oklahoma State game at a bar in Lawrence. I was like, that's better. That looks like Nebraska.
Steve's, Steve, he was an innovator. When you think of the tunnel walk, was it Mikey Bowes? That dun 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 dun. They're all jumping from the plane. There were some great things that took place under his watch when it came to trying to reinvent the wheel. And I say that because they were all major failures. But yeah, the uniform one.
Bad uniform, bad year.
Yeah.
There you
Yep.
go.
That's it.
Enough said.
And that's on the announcement image, which I did not notice until today.
Everything else, great. Fantastic. Maybe I need to take back my part of, they have about 120 straight days of some pretty good PR.
Yeah.
Until a tweet went out. Bad uniforms, bad year, enough said.
Do you think anybody in the office? Because
There's probably a young person, no idea.
Well, I'm sure, I guarantee it is. Nebraska.
He's running with the team.
Right now, currently, I mean, the head man and Trev Alberts, there's a little attention to detail. I wonder if that has sort of crossed the thought process there too of like, well, wait a minute.
Well,
what?
It became, so the 02, then in 03, they went back to the previous style, okay, with no stripe on the pants.
Yep.
And they had the Adidas logo, and then they had the N on the pant leg. That was 03. Then 04, they went back to the double stripe on the pants.
Right.
So all of a sudden, and then they took off. Nebraska was gone from the front of the jersey.
Yeah.
That was above the numbers. So we messed around. Steve Peterson loved to mess around with the uniform during that stretch. And then we had, we went back to the all whites and were the all whites for that Colorado game in 07.
That's right.
All right.
Was in the 97
PSA on uniform.
The 97 run, were those pants all white?
Yep.
That's what I thought. Which, again, if you want to go all white as opposed to a very loud, wide red stripe, give me all white every day of the week. As far as the pants. But yeah, I totally forgot about the little, it's like a wave, the wave on the side of the jersey.
Well, they were just like subtle tweaks, during that.
Subtle but loud.
From 95 before they
messed
with 02.
Yeah, right.
Because Adidas added their logo, and then they added, Nebraska was added to the front of the jersey prior to the 99 season.
Mm-hmm.
Something during that stretch of uniforms that never really kind of took off that I thought might is red socks.
Yep.
Crouch wore red socks.
Yep, Crouch did. I remember Darren Diedrich wearing them.
Yeah,
Yep.
they never took off after that.
Yep.
Maybe it's because everybody had a bad taste about the uniforms in 02.
Probably.
Richie Incognito hated those uniforms as well. I think he's on record.
Is there anybody that liked them? When you said you'd challenge anyone to a fight, I don't know if they'd have anyone to fight.
Did Richie punch the uniforms at all?
People in Manhattan, people in Stillwater.
Yeah, I do think of
people
Manhattan.
in State College. They love seeing Nebraska in those uniforms. 1 hour in the books. Coming up next hour, we'll begin our predictions, plus a couple other things that was said last night by Trev about men's basketball. Good discussion going on about NIL, not only with international students, but the power of the NIL if you want something. We'll dive into that. We roll till 10. It's a Thursday morning. It's opening day. Happy opening day, everybody. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a significant delay from 192nd to 175th along Center. Then on L, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown near 90th Street. And other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth, even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like tools, instruments, designer handbags, construction equipment, vehicles, trailers, appliances. $10 to $50,000 super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
One of the Nebraska Lottery's most explosively fun promotions is back.
Cash Blast. Until April 18th, buy a 2x2 ticket, enter the voucher number, and you could win $5,000 or $500. If your winning voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket or a multiple of 7 ticket, your prize is doubled. There will be 7 weekly drawings and 14 total winners in Cash Blast. So play today. You'll have a blast. But that goes without saying. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000.
What's with all the Nebraska lottery scratch tickets? We're going to a baseball game.
They're for the 7th inning scratch.
You mean the 7th inning stretch?
Hey, you can stretch if you want. I'm scratching.
Starting a new baseball tradition?
Sure. Why not add even more excitement to the game? Check out all these fun tickets, and I could win thousands between innings.
I suppose the next thing you'll do is change Take Me Out to the Ball Game to Take Me Out to a Nebraska lottery retailer.
Buy me some peanuts and scratch tickets.
Play is good. Go play. Odds vary by game.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer WetJet. With Swiffer WetJet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer WetJet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Nothing is every day.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
The Creighton Blue Jays are back at Charles Schwab Field as they open up a 3-game series with St. Thomas. Pre-game coverage begins Friday night at 5:45. Creighton baseball on the radio on 1180 The Zone.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Spring is in sight. Looking to wake up your yard this season? Make your neighbors green with envy with Lenahaw's wide selection of landscape supplies and homegrown plant material. Get a head start today. Lenahaw Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Opening day of Major League Baseball.
Doing it again.
The Royals and the Twins will be over on 1180. Royals in powder blue. We say good luck, Jake Eisenberg, the former Omaha Storm
Yeah.
Chaser announcer, now in his first year full time. He is part of the Royals broadcast crew. It sounded great during spring training. So Jake is fired up to begin today, and you'll hear that over on the 1180. I asked you guys because around here, the Storm Chasers begin on the road, and then they're home next week. They're not going to be on the radio. So this might be the first time since the Royals / Golden Spikes / Storm Chasers
the G Spikes
have been in Omaha that they will not be on the radio. They'll be streaming only.
Yeah.
They've been a longtime partner with us, and it was a decision that they decided to go with. As unfortunately, a lot of minor league baseball is streaming only. So we won't have the Storm Chasers
That's
on
sad.
1180 this year, but we will have, what? You're the scheduling guy. All the Royals games?
Yep.
All right.
Got them all.
They open up with the Twins. Carlos Correa's ankle is fine. Byron Buxton, for the love of, sir, this is an Albies fantasy team. That's my team name this year. I need
So you got Byron, okay.
I need Byron Buxton to hit 50 home runs and stay healthy. That's all.
Stay
I'm asking.
healthy. Yeah.
Just a simple request for Buxton, who, more than likely will not play 162 games.
I feel like the other one will work out if you can get that last one, and that's Byron Buxton staying healthy. I think for Major League Baseball, that is a good thing when it comes to the popularity of the game, because Byron Buxton is a very exciting player when he's playing.
A couple of emails here to kick off hour number 2. By the way, Sarah Baker Hansen will join us. No sip today. He said he's got work stuff. And then there is practice in Lincoln, and there is media availability afterwards. So we'll get SIP tomorrow, but we will have Matt Verzal live from Chicago leading up to opening day at Wrigley Field.
That's a treat.
Amazing Mets writes in to the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary or Handley at 1620thezone.com. As much as I love opening day, I can only think of Don McClain. No trumpets. Timmy and Edwin. I'm going to sit this one out. That being said, I'm pulling one of my boys from school at 1:30 so he can see the first Blue Jays pitch. Good on that. Dad of the year right there.
My dad would applaud wherever he is.
They don't let kids, I don't know. Who knows what happens in school nowadays. They don't like there's not teachers showing games, right?
I hope there are still a few out there.
Maybe there's one.
Like one of my best friends who's also a diehard Twins fan, he is a math teacher at Miller North Middle School. And I know he has the MLB package. How I know that is none of your business. But I could see him.
Because he went online and asked people for the code.
Well, maybe I did.
Which was like super popular yesterday.
Maybe I share with him, but that's neither here nor there. He's pretty passionate. So if that game was during the day, the Twins game, I could see him trying to pull that off. I know a couple teachers, whether they're in the high school baseball coaching ranks or just diehard baseball fans, that I could see them being very tempted to say, hey, you know what? This is a good history lesson here.
That's a good history lesson for potentially the Cy Young Award winner, Alex Manoah. John Schneider. They turned around the Blue Jays when they made a change with Charlie Montoya. And they brought in John Schneider, who most people have no idea who he is. He's not from the Dukes of Hazzard. They went, 46-28? I like their roster. I like their roster a lot. That's a good call. That's Dad of the Year candidate right there. Scott writes in the discussion of just the suggestion that I wonder if they'll invite all of the running backs back during the Frank Solich era. He says Thunder Collins called. He will unfortunately not be able to make it. He has a previously planned engagement in the commissary. Thunder is in Lincoln. Last check.
Can he join via Zoom?
Yeah.
Is it allowed?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need to bring up Thunder Collins. That was a mistake on my part. I thought he might win 1 or 2 or 3 Heisman trophies.
It's a great name.
Like Bino thought Ron Paulus would win 3 Heisman trophies.
He still does somewhere.
He does.
Tweeter says on Richie Incognito's dislike of the O2 uniforms, is there anything Richie doesn't hate?
Yeah, I assume when he saw those pants for the first time, they got punched. And then whoever was holding the pants might have also been on the receiving end of that.
Doug writes into his own inbox.
Morning,
He's got
Doug.
a plethora of questions.
Hi, Doug.
I got to read through. Glad to see Frank coming back. Can we have a Steve Peterson bonfire and burn pictures of him the night before the spring game?
Hey.
We may now have an end to the Solich drinks. Well done, Trev.
Well done, Doug. Good idea. Get everyone together.
This will be, if Nebraska makes it to the Guaranteed Rate Bowl this year and they play BYU, that's my way too early bowl prediction. And it's because Frank came back to the spring game.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you, we've been doing it all wrong. Jack Mitchell at KLIN having his thing last year.
Yep.
You were doing it wrong. You didn't have Frank.
Yep.
We got Frank. See, that should be Trev explaining why we want you back, Coach, to honor you. And then he goes, just to be honest, we feel like it hasn't been the same since you left. We just need you to come out.
We tried everything.
Just come on. Can you just walk around the field?
God help us.
And then we're good after that. Doug wants to know, Jimmy, why do you root for the Astros? And how can you root for the Astros? That's more the question of how can you root for the cheaters?
Easy.
Oh, I see some angst in the voice of Mr. Chavez.
Grew up in San Antonio. When I was a kid, they were bad. Then they were good. And it's like rooting for an SEC team, where if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
You know what I sensed after last year's World Series run, and even with Altuve being out for the first 2 months, their position and bullpen's pretty good. Valdez, Javier, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're poised to make another run to win the World Series. There was not as I thought there would be more angst towards the Astros winning the World Series last year. I didn't get that. And it may be, like you can never convince like Dodger fans that they should root for the Astros. They never will. But probably winning the World Series last year, people went, man, that's a good organization.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good organization. They don't ever step back.
Well,
and they're poised to win 90 games or more again this year.
I'll clear up one thing with Doug with that. When the whole thing happened, I wasn't
go
happy.
Get him, Jimmy.
Well, I mean,
go get him.
I wasn't happy about
Bang
the
your
fact-
trash can.
Do it proudly, man.
I wasn't happy that they were caught up in that, but I also believe and will always believe they weren't the only ones. They were doing something.
Well, it's like when we talk
And
about
if they were the Yankees,
What do you got against Alex Cora?
if they were the Yankees, it would have been swept under the rug.
Oh,
Yankee
conspiracy
fan, 951
theories.
1620. I'd like to hear from you.
Hey.
Let's talk Volpe and let's talk about
Talk about what you were doing that just
Jimmy-
never got.
Jimmy just
brought to
crushing
the
the New
light
York
of day.
It's the truth. It's what's good for business. Well, you're not gonna. It's like the NBA and the Lakers. You're not gonna do something that'll hurt a big brand. The Yankees being in the World Series is always good for baseball and its ratings. So, thus, if it was something like that, you're not going to. Well, we're not going to expose that. But if it's the Houston Astros and it's that blatant,
Yeah, my problem
Fair
with my problem with the Astros is that they got caught.
yeah.
That they did it in a manner that was like, really?
And here's the other thing I have about that whole scandal. You're cheating your ass off, and you still couldn't win one home game against the Nationals in the World Series.
Go get them.
One home
Hey,
game.
Hey,
You couldn't put Garrett Cole when Greinke did what he had to do in Game 7, and by the time you put him in, it's too late. Well, you obviously weren't cheating good enough.
good, man. Now it makes sense that bumper sticker you have on your pickup truck in the parking lot. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Good on you. Good on you. Jimmy's got an update here in just a moment. I do want to. So there's an additional announcement about the return of Frank Solich for the spring game on April 22nd. I'm not sure what it is. They're not going to do what Ohio did. They're not going to name the field after him.
Right.
Now, I don't think they will. Here's what I've been advocating. I'm on the board with this, and if this comes true, please give me credit. But this would just be my idea. I said this about a year and a half ago. I'm pretty sure you can go back and listen to the podcast if they still exist. Whatever the show was called back then when I was doing it. Is with the new facility, why not name the running back room in the new facility after Frank Solich? It's the Frank Solich running back room.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I have suggested. I think in the new facility, every position group room should be named after a former player.
Love that idea.
But Frank is former player, but one of, if not the best running back coach that Nebraska football had or will ever have. And he also coached here.
Mhm.
But I think calling the running back position group room in the new facility, the Frank Solich running back room, and you let everybody that plays running back at Nebraska know who Coach Solich was, what he did as a undersized running back, and the plethora of incredible I-backs/fullbacks that he coached at Nebraska. That would be just my suggestion. I think that would be a cool tribute to Frank that probably there would be all kinds of emotion
I like
running
that.
through his body. I don't know what the other announcement is, but they will save that for April 22nd. But I'm now on the board.
Yeah, I and you again are probably a little bit more in tune to this than I would be. I kind of assumed it would have something to do with either the stadium, or not necessarily the field itself, or there's not naming rights, but something to do with the stadium or new facility. That there will be some type of recognition of Frank Solich. That's it. When I heard that, that's immediately where I went, without knowing at all or hearing anything that I'm not supposed to hear at all. That would be my guess.
Certainly,
yes.
All right, 7:17. Sarah Baker Hansen's coming up at 8. Big news concerning a local chef, along with the beer bracket. Matt Verzal from Chicago. A couple hours from opening day, he is in Wrigleyville. Buckle up, Jimmy. You got to be on that delay when we get Verz on from opening day at Wrigley Field. Plus, it's Ask Us Anything, your chance to win a gift card from Oscar's Pizza and Grill. You ask Nick and myself any question. Anything goes. Send in your questions to Jimmy at 1620thezone.com. And also, Brian Edwards stops by. But time for an update with Jimmy.
Yeah, and he was tweeting about 2:00 in the morning, so he's up and going. I'm excited.
You're a virgin.
Oh, I'm excited about this.
I got
So
my
both
arm
of you guys are virgins
Yeah.
to Verz's opening day at Wrigley Field.
I've been told
It is
a couple times.
It is a gong show, and a good gong show.
Can't wait.
Creighton baseball was it's not a good gong show for them in Lawrence yesterday. Oh, party time in Lawrence. They they fall to Kansas 3-1. The women are going to play for a WNIT championship, and they're playing an Ivy League school Saturday, so they're probably going to win said championship because they've beaten some good teams in that tournament, and they had 8,000 people at that game. Jays fall to 9-9 on the season. Kansas climbs to 9-14. They're playing that Saturday at 4:30 though, so it's
an odd time.
Yeah. On CBS Sports Network on top of that, so obviously they want people to.
They're going to sell that out.
I would have thought so if the game was at 2. They'll have a good crowd.
Okay.
They'll have more. There's a chance they could sell it out because
Was
honestly,
it like 16.7? Is that what the capacity thereabouts?
16.3. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know. Look, they're going to win that game. They're not going to lose to Columbia. That's just all there is to it. So I think that'll be the.
Hey, that's what Arizona said to an Ivy League.
Yeah. Princeton's got something to tell you.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, speaking of Princeton, the big man from Princeton that Bishop on Air told to take his ass back to England is actually taking his ass to the NBA.
I thought you were going to say taking his ass to the portal.
No, but the other guard.
That's
Langborg?
Yeah, he's going into the portal.
Yeah,
Because
Langborg is.
He can't be a fifth-year guy at an Ivy League school.
Right? They're like, nope, sorry.
You already got one
your
degree.
service time is expired.
You'll have to pay like everyone else.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark named the winner of the Naismith Trophy as National Women's Player of the Year yesterday. She beat out Aaliyah Boston and Virginia Tech's Elizabeth Kitley, Villanova's Maddie Siegrist. She's only averaging 27 points and 9 assists to go with 7 rebounds per game, and she told that girl from Louisville to shut up because they were down 15. It's awesome. She's also had 127 three-pointers and 56 steals. You can watch she and Aaliyah Boston duel Friday night in Dallas at the Final Four. Good luck getting a ticket. After a 16-year hiatus, congratulations to the Sacramento Kings, who punched their own ticket back to the NBA playoffs with a 120-80 win over the Portland Trail Blazers. They'd been eligible to qualify for the playoffs since Saturday, but in coming up shy of getting the needed wins from themselves and other teams. They haven't been in the playoffs since the 05-06 season when they lost to the Spurs in 6 games. That team featured Ron Artest, Brad Miller. It was a feisty team. Took a lot out of the Spurs, who would lose to Dallas in the second round. The more you know.
This year they got I mean, Keegan Murray also set the record for 3-pointers by a rookie last night. The rookie out of Iowa. Not bad. You're the 4th or 5th option on a 3 seed in the West.
Yeah.
A heck of a year for Keegan
3
Murray.
seed. Yeah, most people haven't watched him.
Or the Jets, and then it will be the Sabres are going to be on the clock as the longest playoff drought in professional sports.
Mm-hmm. Mike Brown,
12
coach
years?
of the year. He deserves it. It's
Better
a
get that
really
Rodgers
good
deal done.
team. Yeah. So the Kings did it on their own. They could have gotten some help. They didn't. On the flip side of things, that's your positive story in the NBA. This is just comical. After the Dallas Mavericks lost for the 14th time in 20 games since Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic took the court as teammates, imagine that, Irving said this was far from where he expected the team to be when he arrived in Dallas almost 2 months ago. We could have told you. Speaking after last night's 116-108 loss to the very good 76ers at the Wells Fargo Center, he said, I think that now, again, just where we are in the season and where other teams are positioned already, it kind of looks a bit of a cluster. That's 3 dashes. I don't know what word he's trying to use, to be honest with you, because we're 37-40 and we're trying to fight to get into the play-in game. It's not the expectations I don't think any of us had in that locker room. Those damn people who believe the earth is round.
Why is everybody angry?
I don't know.
So
I just don't know anymore.
People are angry. Westbrook and Kyrie had a confrontation with fans last night. By the way, all due respect, Russell Westbrook had vintage
36
Russ
and 10
last
assists.
night, and no Kawhi and no PG to beat Memphis.
It still happens from time to time.
Good on Russ.
But he tried to get a fan thrown out. Kyrie, who had a fan thrown out in Charlotte earlier in the week, got into a confrontation again with a fan last night. Why is everybody angry? It's opening day.
Yeah.
Everybody's 0-0.
That needs to be on the mind of all of the NBA players. Right
Kyrie strikes me
It
as
is
the
opening
kind of
day,
guy
folks.
who thinks the 02 Huskers uniforms were actually a thing of beauty, and then they should have stuck with them. So
He's a bit hot takey.
Yeah. He would.
Bit hot takey.
Yeah. He'll be watching the playoffs on TV. I think the Thunder will end up getting that last play-in seed. And that's pretty good on them because a lot of people didn't expect them to be that good this year, and they'll make the playoff game. I mean, that's tribute to the organization and the job that they've done constructing a team of young kids after Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook were there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks, Jimmy. I'll have another update coming up next hour. When we come back, a little bit more on what Nebraska is going to do in honoring Frank Solich on April 22nd, the day of the spring game. But also the discussion on the radio show last night was around basketball as well. Fred's coming back. Amy's coming back. Make or break for both next year. But the NIL discussion is something that is intensifying. But is that a gauge of how good your program is? I'll explain, because both Creighton and Nebraska, more Creighton than Nebraska when it comes to basketball, you can get a sense of how you feel about a program on what the NIL does for you. That and much more. Sarah Baker Hansen will join us. Matt Verzal, Brian Edwards as well, with Nick, Jimmy, and Gary. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. All right, Grand Slams. Will we have one today? Will we have a no-hitter? Oh, geez, you know what's going to happen. Corbin Burns is going to throw a no-hitter against the Cubs today at Wrigley.
Shane Bieber?
Oh, he'd been great against the Cubs. But I should know that the Brewers are 0-3 when he started last year against the Cubs. Just saying. We could also have double plays. We could have a triple play. And there is no better place to get in on all the MLB action than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. That's because right now, new customers can step up to the plate. See what we did there? With a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. All you have to do is go to FanDuel.com/zone. Sign up to place your first bet. Like you might look at, like a run total. 5 of the last 10 opening days for the Royals, Nick. The total has gone over. You've got Lopez and Greinke today. The total is 9. Well, you can get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your bet doesn't win.
I'm kind of looking right now at Garrett Cole, 8+ strikeouts plus the Yankees win. That is getting you the plus 125 mark in FanDuel. There's a lot of ones that you can check out. Pitcher props, hit runs, lines, runs, all kinds of winning margin lines too. Don't miss your chance to get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/zone to sign up. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online, real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
No disrespect to Frankie Muniz. Do you think that I could become a good race car driver pretty quickly? I know he's been doing this for all of his life, but I like to consider myself a pretty good driver. I'm an excellent driver. What's so good about Frankie Muniz? Like, how did Frankie Muniz decide he was going to be a NASCAR driver? Is he just a good driver? And those things have manual transmissions, right? Mm-hmm. That'd be tough. I think that'd probably disqualify me.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Warm and windy weather on the way for Thursday. Still cool early on, but warming up quickly as winds turn more out of the south, gusting around 35 miles per hour in the early afternoon. Highs will top out around 70. Wind advisory goes into effect at 4 p.m. as we could see wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour into Friday morning. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a minor slowdown from 186 to 168th on Center. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for a significant delay from 150th to the I-80 East and West ramps. And westbound along I-80, it looks like things are slowing down just a little bit near 144th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Lus Hills Harley Davidson.
Riding season is here, and it's time to trade in and trade up. Or, if you ain't riding it, Lus Hills Harley Davidson is buying it. Sell your Harley Davidson today. Lus Hills Harley Davidson. Rise up and ride on.
You know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
No matter how dark it gets, there's always a sunrise, a warm bed, a warm meal, and hope. Sienna Francis House serves hope to those experiencing homelessness and addiction. Every day, we provide more than 1,000 meals and serve nearly 500 guests in our emergency shelter, Miracles Recovery Program, and supportive housing apartments, and help our guests navigate a path to permanent housing. Learn more at siennafrancis.org.
This is the official station of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament in Omaha. Follow all the action from first tip-off to the final buzzer right here. Westwood One's coverage of March Madness is locally presented by Woodhouse Auto Family and is also brought to you locally by Prairie Construction, Burton AC Heating, Plumbing, and more, and Barry Law on Omaha's home for America's favorite tournament, 1620 The Zone.
Progressive protects more than just your home and car. You could save when you bundle your motorcycles, ATVs, boats, and RVs. Doesn't that sound good? Like the sound of the wind in the trees as your RV sits parked in the forest. Is that the call of the majestic owl? And there's the sound of a tree branch crashing into the roof of your RV. Oof, I guess their nest was in that branch. But you know what does sound good? You're covered with Progressive. So bundle all your vehicles and home in one place and save with the multi-policy discount. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you could sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Opening day, Major League Baseball, including in Kansas City, where they're wearing the powder blues. Big on the Minnesota Twins, the Young Guns. I don't know if Kansas City will have any pitching, but they definitely have some promise at the plate.
Is it a powder blue out?
It always is. If you're
Okay.
going to a game.
You can start to say goodbyes to the K. No, we're probably about, well, depending how John Sherman works, and they released details yesterday of where they're going to put the stadium.
Conveniently.
Downtown, right, basically next to T-Mobile in the Power and Light District, where the old Kansas City Star printing plant was. Part of the stadium is going to go over 670, which if you're on 670 and you come through downtown, by that side of downtown, you go, underneath a couple of bridges. The stadium is going to be right in that area.
That's awesome.
I love the Power and Light. I wonder about parking and access, but I also like the K. I don't see anything wrong with Kauffman Stadium. I don't see anything wrong with Arrowhead Stadium. And there are rarities that there are older stadiums built in the 70s that still exist. I don't know. The new ballpark, because it's fancy and it's new, and if you incorporate Crown Vision in the fountains, you could make it really, really unique to Kansas City. I don't know. I like the K, but the drawings, I was very intrigued.
What do you say, 5 years?
Do you feel like the new owner of the Royals is putting more into the stadium effort or his current team? Because if his team isn't very good, when they open that stadium, people will only come to get a taste, and that's not going to last so long.
Then you're going to have to be good.
Yeah, but no, he's got to balance that. The drawings look intriguing. I wonder about the location. That could just be a nightmare getting in and out of there. They'll have to do a lot of infrastructure, but start to make your trip to Kansas City and say goodbye to the K.
The only thing that I've never been a big fan of with both Arrowhead and Kansas City and Kauffman Stadium is because of what's around it. That's the only thing. As far as the stadium itself, and the size of the parking lot and the opportunity to tailgate and everything that comes with that is great. But yeah, as I've gotten older, I appreciate being able to walk out of a stadium and then right there you have either some type of entertainment district or at least like a street of some places that you can go to at either before or after the game. So
you can go to Denny's.
And what's the hotel that's right
Drury
there?
Inn.
Yeah. I'm sure they've got a good continental breakfast.
Or the Adams Mark.
Maybe you can talk them into getting the waffle batter fired back up, make a waffle.
It's a decent liquor store not too far away.
Yeah. We're reaching, guys. That's my only issue. Like the stadium itself
you
is
go hang out in Independence.
Independence? Oh.
All your chains that you'd like to see.
Hey, you can stay at the Adams Mark.
Yeah.
The Adams Mark was pretty cool like 20 years ago. They haven't updated it.
Yeah.
I got the water slide and the water park in there. Yeah.
I would go down that thing.
Yeah. I just never really developed the area.
No, they
around
didn't.
there.
And that's unfortunate. That's the worst part
But
about it.
again, off of 435 or 70, it's easy to get
Yes.
in and out of. Even for a 78,000 seat football stadium, you're not going to just drive up and you're in your parking spot and leave. But it's
pretty convenient.
To me, it's been pretty convenient. We'll check our thoughts on what the Royals are going to do with a win total that is about 69. All right, American League East. Jimmy, you're first up.
American League East. I got the Yankees. They put the money into it. They're going to be there. They don't like the way last season ended. So I really went out on a limb there and picking the Yankees to win it. But it goes back to what Nick said at the beginning, where going through these picks, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm just doing like when you do your bracket. Well, I'm just going to go with the 1 seeds. And you're trying to think, is there anybody that could surprise? Well, watch out the Blue Jays. I think they'll be there. I thought they were pretty good last year, and I think they're going to be maybe giving away where I'm going with a wild card team. But yeah, they'll be the Yankees.
I've got the Blue Jays, and the Yankees I have very, very close. The reason I have New York maybe surging more in the postseason, making it in again. Okay, maybe wild card, spoiler alert there too, is the health of Rodon. The pitching, I think, again, this is the big if, because excited about Volpe, obviously Judge and what they have. There's continuity with this team, but the Rodon addition is good if he's pitching the majority of his starts. That bolsters this rotation. Obviously, you need consistency out of Severino as well. But between what the Blue Jays have from rotation and just the ability to thump, I think Toronto is going to have, I think, more of the long run in the division. And then the difference between New York and even Tampa Bay, I think, is pretty razor thin as well. So I know I'm not saying anything that people far smarter than me in Major League Baseball are saying right now, but I think that Division 2, once you get to 1, I think between 2 and 3, it's going to be a race.
4 teams have finished over 500 last year.
Yeah. And Tampa Bay has, I think, they're the third best developmental system right now, too. So you continue to see that farm system just get guys on the cheap and they produce.
Tampa Bay is third, I think, when Glasnow returns. So I think Toronto is going to win the division. I think Varsho and Kiermaier are going to put them over the top. I mean, they've led the league in slugging and OPS each of the last 3 years. And then the Yankees, I don't have faith that Severino and Rodon are going to be able to stay healthy throughout the year, but they are still good enough. I mean, Garrett Cole may win the Cy Young. He's never won the Cy Young. And they've got enough other pieces that I've got them second in the East as a wild card team as well. National League, this is a no-brainer for me. The Atlanta Braves. They're the deepest team in baseball. Bullpen might be a little bit of a trouble, but once they get into the postseason, ain't going to matter who they're playing. I don't think they'll flame out. I mean, they had 243 home runs last year. I think Acuna will be back to the normal Acuna. I mean, look at their rotation. Fried, Morton, Strider. They'll always find some young up-and-comer. I think they win the East. I think the New York Mets will miss Edwin Diaz a bunch. I mean, they only had 3 walk-off losses last year. They were 10-2 in extra inning games with Edwin Diaz, who flipped. He was brutal, and then last year he had an incredible year. They still got Scherzer and Verlander, and if you're playing in a best-of-3 series, ouch. I like the Mets finishing second, and I like the Philadelphia Phillies to grab a wild card. Again, I said this earlier. You might be hard-pressed. The same 6 in the American League and National League could be the same 6 this year. But they've gone from the shakiest bullpen with the Phillies to the deepest. They're going to miss Hoskins, but the Phillies are absolutely loaded. And Aaron Nola, 200-plus innings, 32-plus starts. They're going to get Harper back, but I don't see him winning that division. But that's going to be a fun division. Could they have 4 teams that finish above 500 in the NL East?
Well, and
doubtful. I think they at least have 3.
And I'm with you with Philadelphia as far as having them where they finish at third. And it comes down to the injury situation. Harper, I think there's a shot that he could be back by the All-Star break, but now you add Reese to that as well. So they're a team. Get them in the playoffs, get them healthy. Okay, let's talk. I'm actually going to go with the Mets, though. I'm going to go with the aging yet exciting rotation to edge out what I think is going to be an absolute juggernaut in the playoffs in the Atlanta Braves. And again, when I think of their lineup, the Braves are deep. The Ronald Acuna part of it, I think, is huge too when it comes to their offense, bolstering their offense too. But I always feel like the Mets, there's so much conversation about their rotation, their offense between Pete Alonso. Of course, I'm a little biased because I still love Francisco Lindor, and I think he is a stud, and I think he can ignite an offense, the things that he does on the base path as well. There's a lot about what they can still do offensively too. And again, another guy that I don't think gets a lot of run when it comes to the rotation too, and there's a theme here using some former Cleveland guys, is Cookie Carrasco, as basically your 4th guy too. So if you do run into a situation where either, Verlander or Scherzer is dealing with something, Carrasco's another guy that you can rely on. So I do like between their bullpen, the Diaz injury is huge, but for the most part, their bullpen outside of that is pretty solid too. So kind of like what I said with the American League East, where I could see the Yankees surging as they get to the postseason. I see Atlanta in a similar situation, but I think I'm going to take the Mets to actually win the division.
That's fair. I love the Braves. Kind of the same thing you said, Gary. It's like the Braves, especially after getting a taste and what they did 2 years ago, they're going to come back hungrier, and they're going to be better than they were 2 years ago. And it's going to be hard to beat them in a 7-game series. And the Mets I have as a wild card and finishing second because you spent all that money. You'd have to think, unless you're starstruck and you already have the injury bug starting and that continues, I like them to finish second, be a dangerous team down the stretch. I don't, in a short series, I like those pitchers, but in a long series, I'd still go with the Braves winning that in a 6 or 7 game series. I actually think the Phillies, though I like them, will not make a wild card, will finish just short. They'll have a good season. They'll win a lot of games, but I would expect next year they'll really come back and be similar to where they were a year ago.
Will the Marlins soar, guys?
Hey, the Marlins rotation's pretty good.
Yeah, sneaky.
I don't know that they get to the 79 wins that is on their total, but their rotation is pretty good. They're just, I don't think they have enough offense. Luis Ariz is not the answer to put them over the top.
And then there's the Nets.
Yeah, and Patrick Corbin may lead the majors in losses for the 3rd straight year, which is not easy to do.
They'll always have 19.
All right, 42 past the hour. More emails and some tweets. And we'll talk about the Central when you return, which, of course, includes a little local flair. Again, the Royals and the Twins, they open up at the K. I'm finding out here, there's a lot of people that don't like the K. I don't know what's wrong with the K.
The K itself is fine.
I always thought it was the Dodger Stadium of the American League.
Folks, it's the team that's been playing in the K. They have 7 straight non-playoff seasons. That's the issue.
Yeah.
It's a great place to watch a ball game.
It is.
And they'll play at 3 o'clock today.
Decent weather.
Next to the home of the Super Bowl champions.
Got to get that in there.
Well, I wonder who's throwing out the first pitch. Anybody know?
Is it Patrick?
How about Patrick? Why not? Actually,
no, I don't want him to hurt his ankle.
Go with Kelsey.
Walking out there.
Was it
Go all in.
Patrick's brother?
Kelsey on opening day.
Andy Reid in his shorts that he was wearing in the coach's photo in
There,
Arizona.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe Andy Reid, but unfortunately, he's probably still a little busy.
Hey, they got Mariano Rivera's throwing out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium. You don't
That's
think that
awesome.
might be a little exciting?
That might fire people up.
Did we not,
They'll play Anderson.
Did we not spend time on the coach's photo that it is a baller move in the coach's photo at the owners' meetings that there were 2 guys wearing shorts? Andy Reid always wears shorts and a Hawaiian shirt, and he's always in the front row, usually right in the middle because he's a bigger guy. And that Bill Belichick was wearing shorts.
Yeah.
That is a baller move.
Cut off hoodie?
Everybody else is dressed.
Yeah.
They got a lot of young guys who dress.
Did you
dress for the job?
Did you see LaFleur? He had like a green leisure sports coat on.
Yeah, but Belichick and Reid were wearing shorts. That is a baller move. One guy's on the hot seat. The other guy's got another Super Bowl ring.
That's true.
Not who you think.
Talk about the Central coming up next. Hey, you want to go down to the K? You want to go to Wrigley Field? You want to go to that other stadium in Chicago? You want to go to Milwaukee? Hey, you want to go to Coors Field? You want to go to St. Louis? You want to go to Target Field? Which is crazy that Target Field is now 13 years old. Here's the way to do it. Tickets for Less has the best seats for you. Ticketsforless.com can get you the best seats, the best selection with no per-ticket fees to Major League Baseball games, Omaha Storm Chasers, college baseball in the area. Go to the website right now, ticketsforless.com, and secure your seats and know that you never have those crazy per-ticket fees at checkout. Never, ever with ticketsforless.com. Plus, on your next order, use the promo code THEZONE for even an additional discount at ticketsforless.com.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Lanahaw Nurseries has been your dependable full-service source for locally grown trees, plants, and landscape materials. Rooted in tradition, our products and services are consistently ranked best of Omaha in quality and value. From design to install, our experts are here to help bring your landscape vision to life. Start your next project this weekend. Visit us at 192nd and Center, Lanahaw Nurseries, your homegrown headquarters since 1974.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $29. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Ever walk through a door and see all the trucks? Yeah, it's kind of like that at Gretna Auto Outlet. Half-ton trucks, three-quarter-ton trucks, dualies, gas or diesel. Gretna Auto Outlet will be happy to show it to you. They don't call it truck heaven for nothing, you know. Stop in the climate-controlled comfort of the indoor showroom or online with the virtual showroom at GretnaAuto.com. Gretna Auto Outlet, open Sundays too, just north of Nebraska Crossing on Highway 6 in Gretna.
One of the Nebraska Lottery's most explosively fun promotions is back. Cash Blast. Until April 18th, buy a 2x2 ticket, enter the voucher number, and you could win $5,000 or $500. If your winning voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket or a multiple of 7 ticket, your prize is doubled. There will be 7 weekly drawings and 14 total winners in Cash Blast. So play today. You'll have a blast. But that goes without saying. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000. Did you know that when you play games from the Nebraska Lottery, you're also supporting and even... That's right. Since 1993, the Nebraska Lottery has raised more than $900 million for Nebraska's environment, educational opportunities, and state fair. So to everyone who plays, we say, the Nebraska Lottery, 30 years of building a better Nebraska.
Colon cancer is the second leading cancer killer in the U.S., and Nebraska ranks 32nd in screening rates with only 58%. Get up to date on your screening. Colon cancer screening can prevent cancer from occurring and save lives. The Colon Cancer Task Force is providing free at-home kits for Nebraska residents aged 45 to 74. For your free screening kit, visit OmahaColonKit.com. That's OmahaColonKit.com.
Progressive presents 10 things on a food truck owner's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Stocking the fridge, prepping the station, finding employees that get along well, finding employees that actually do their job. Looking at you, Gary. Balancing the books, balancing the flavors, having a fresh menu and fresh produce and fresh meat, but never a fresh mouth. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Hey, it's Happer for the FanDuel Sportsbook, and yes, that's right. It is my time of year, baseball season. It is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can step up to the plate with a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Just head over to FanDuel.com/Happer to sign up, place your first bet, and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win. Opening weekend, plenty of things on the board. You could take a picture over on strikeouts, or guess what? You could still build a same game parlay with your favorite matchup of the day. It's time to bet some baseball, so don't miss your chance to get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just head over to FanDuel.com/Happer to sign up. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. 21 and over, present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. 1620 The Zone.
One half of the show is advocating.
Seems like your inbox blew up over there.
So we mentioned earlier, former Storm Chaser announcer Jake Eisenberg is now full-time with the Kansas City Royals. And I just sent him a text to wish him luck. And I said, hey, we're carrying all the Royals games. And he goes, won't lie, going to get a kick out of being on 1620 instead of 1180.
Let's tell him.
There'll be some.
No,
Royals,
there's some on 1620.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as it wouldn't preempt like USC. later games or weekends.
All right. It's a daily thing. Baseball is back. We got a daily thing going on. And the weather is going to be 70 here in Omaha today. Not going to know what to do.
73 today.
I am the only part of the show that is advocating that we don't just keep tearing down stadiums and build new ones. Okay. I like the K. John says, tear the K down. Did you know they found a 6-inch crack found in the upper deck down the left field line? Okay. Well, they found part of Memorial Stadium collapsed and they fixed it and they're still playing there. But we want to move on to these state-of-the-art stadiums. I'm going to have to dive into this because I'm very curious. I've only been to 2 games there. Broncos Stadium seemed like a place that, you know what? We got to move on and let's build a new one.
No.
I went there.
They got new owners that have more money than God, but they are looking at building a new stadium in Denver. That stadium is 20 years old?
Yeah, it just was legal for it to drink last year.
Wait, what? Oh,
it turns 22 this year.
I drank there before.
Despite the football team that plays there on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Great stadium.
Yeah, the fans are close to the field.
And the thing that
I also I think is easy to get in and out of.
Yes, the amenities, and that's what I will always look at first and foremost with Major League or NFL stadiums is, do you have a little bit more of that 360 feel? Do you have access when it comes to getting to the concourse? Can you still have a visual of what's going on? And I experienced the lowest of low when it came to seats, and not talking about seats were low. I mean, we were low price, still a little expensive, and even up in the very upper deck, like by the light banks. Like, it was actually pretty accessible getting into the concession area, still having visual and stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed that from where we were actually seated in most stadiums. When you're way up there, it's a chore getting in and out of the concourse because it's pretty small up in those areas. It was actually, I thought it was pretty accessible. So I liked it. I actually really like that experience there. It's a good stadium.
When I saw the stadiums that the new Broncos owners were touring, that told me already where they're thinking. And everybody wants to build the next SoFi. They want to build the next Jerry World. And the thing I thought, you're going to go build a new stadium and put a damn roof over it in Denver. Come on.
Now, what I will say, and kind of just to be fair with my only complaint about Kauffman and Arrowhead, has nothing to do with the stadiums themselves or the way, again, what you have at the stadiums. It's just what's around it. At Denver Stadium, there is not a lot where you spill out and you're right in an entertainment district. And I feel like that's kind of pushing a lot of these new stadium ideas. I know that's what Chicago's dealing with. They want to build an entire entertainment district.
They want a year-round deal.
Yes, exactly. And I wonder if that's something what the Broncos are kind of looking at too, where you've got to probably walk a good half mile to mile to get to an actual,
get your steps in,
like a sports bar, restaurant type place.
All right. I'll let you start because your team is in the American League Central.
All right, boys. So I can make a case for 3 right now. And first and foremost, the Chicago White Sox. I love their rotation. I'm a huge Dylan Cease fan. I'm a huge Lucas Giolito fan. Lance Lynn gives you something too. They've got Clevenger now too. They've got, I think, out of the entire American League Central, probably the most talented team. But I don't feel, and especially with the La Russa issues, I think that is somewhat of a work in progress of it all coming together. Then to those Minnesota Twins, where I think they finally have depth. Not as in love with their rotation. Still something with Sonny Gray there, though. Look, that's always been kind of my issue with the Twins, but I think you were talking about Buxton. Carlos Correa, I think, might have a little bit of a chip.
Do not sleep on Joe Ryan.
Yep. But Joe Ryan's, I know, he's fine. And that's the thing. That's not the headliner guys that you're probably thinking of when it comes to the pitching rotations in that division. I think that's an overlooked rotation that's a lot better than what people would say between Cleveland and the Chicago White Sox. But I love their position players. Again, if Buxton can stay healthy, I've actually always been like a Kepler fan too. But
hitting leadoff. He's back hitting leadoff. That might change him a little bit.
I'm going to go with Cleveland for the simple fact that I'll start with the rotation. Even though Tristan McKenzie and that injury, that's significant because he's going to be out for about 2 months. But I've said, and Shafe could probably attest to this, I've always been on the Quantrill/Savali train, too, that I think those guys are studs. James Karinchak scares the crap out of me, but I love Trevor Stephan. Emmanuel Clase, you got to lead. Good luck with that. If facing that guy, good luck with that. And this is where I go, and we mentioned the rule changes. I think the fact that Cleveland, not a power hitting team, but this is a team that makes as good of contact as any team in Major League Baseball. Strikeout numbers are low. That shift change, I think, benefits Cleveland. So I'm going to take Cleveland. I'm trying to do this in a non-homer take because I think Chicago's more talented, and I think the Twins are right there too. I'm going to take Cleveland edging out this division.
Division is 1st to 90. It'll be the Indians. Feisty offense, system that pumps out pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
They don't strike out much. Them and the Astros never. They struck out under 1,200 times. The White Sox, Pedro Grifol is an upgrade over Tony La Russa.
Yep.
Heck,
Yeah.
Cynthia at the front desk is an upgrade.
All
over
three of
Tony
us
La
are.
Russa.
Exactly.
No offense to the HOF or Tony La Russa, but he should have never come back into the dugout.
That was a very dumb move.
They
by
only
the
have one guy.
organization.
The White Sox only have one guy in their lineup that had over 500 bats last year, and that's Andrew Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
The Twins, Buxton's got to stay on the field, Correa's ankle, but I like Cleveland to win the division.
I like the Twins just barely edging out Cleveland. And I can't really figure out why, other than I'm just going with a gut feeling, but I like Correa's ankle to stay healthy. I like them to put it together. And every few years, it seems like the Twins have one of those years where they kind of put things together and have a good year. I mean, even goes back to the movies when the owner died and his grandson took over. But anyway,
Little Big League's better than Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
Hot take.
I agree with you. 1st to 90 gets it. And when I say I think the Twins get there, it'll be something like that. Cleveland 88. But it wouldn't surprise me if it goes the other way around. But I'm going to go on a limb somewhere. So I'm going to go with the Twins.
Okay.
By the way, just a little sprinkle on the Royals, who opened today against the Twins. Remember, the schedule's changed. You don't play 19 games against your division opponents. You only play 13. Brutal pitching is going to hold the Royals back. They got a young, talented lineup. I mean, Bobby Witt Jr. could be a 2020 guy again. They've only had twice in that franchise history people do that multiple years. Bo Jackson and Carlos Beltran.
They're pretty good.
Bobby Witt Jr. could be a 30-40 guy this year. Somebody in baseball is going to steal 60 bases. You're going to go, man, Jacoby Ellsbury is back in Major League Baseball. I think the Royals win 69. I don't like that pitching. And the thing, they don't have much pitching. Their pitching is struggling in the minors. All those pitchers they develop. National League Central, this pains me to say it, but the St. Louis Cardinals are going to win. I mean, they're up 2-0 on the Phillies guys in the 9th inning of their first playoff game.
Yeah.
If they win, who knows what happens? I mean, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, they added
don't go away.
Jordan Walker. They're good. They're really, really good. I think, though, that they're probably in that division, which is going to be the most boring division in baseball. You win 87 games, you're going to win the division. The Brewers, I mean, Craig Counsell is the senior manager in the league now. They always play above their weight. Will Yelich ever return? But you know what? The World Series was a long time ago for the Brewers, and that run of playoff success, they're going to be an interesting team because Burns and Woodruff, and I love Woodruff. I mean, Burns is standing by himself. There's a lot to like about the Brewers, but not in that division. I like the Cardinals.
I'm with you, the Cardinals. I'm trying to make a case that Chicago could sneak up on Milwaukee.
No.
I do not mind what they're kind of quietly assembling, but yeah, Milwaukee's starting rotation. I do like. Now, the thing about St. Louis too, with everybody talks about their offense with Goldschmidt and Arenado, like Jordan Walker's a stud. He is a stud, and I don't have any true faith into this division. Like Milwaukee, can their offense collectively match what they have with the rotation? And for Chicago, it's building is what's happening. So that's probably going to take another year. But if Milwaukee had a significant drop back, if their offense is struggling, you mentioned Yelich coming back to form, but if their offense is struggling, Chicago maybe catches them at the end of the season. I wouldn't completely write that off.
I like the Cubs at 77 wins, maybe 78, which would be a 4-win improvement. I'll take that. It might be better if Cody Bellinger hops into the Wayback Machine.
You got Jan Gomes, too, who I love.
Kids, remember, once upon a time, the Pirates and Reds played in the NLCS. In fact, they did multiple times in the 70s and 1990. There's nothing to do with that. That was the easiest division to pick. Unfortunately, the Cardinals just don't go away, which is tribute to what they do. But it's, 87 wins, 88 wins. They'll be there. And people forget that, yes, 2-0 could completely change everything if they end up holding on to that and winning. Now, I don't think that would have changed the World Series winner, but it would have dramatically changed the National League and what could have happened. And you get hot, and obviously the Phillies do what they do. But, when all's said and done, the Cardinals will be there. Brewers in second. Soft spot in my heart. Would love to see the Cubs do better than that, but no.
Who do you guys have finishing last? Maybe that's more exciting.
Cincinnati.
I do too. Okay.
Hey, Pittsburgh. So there's a lot of people that think because of the Pittsburgh Pirates, that's why relegation should exist. The Pirates, now their win total is 60, well, actually 67.5. They only won 62 last year.
Mm-hmm.
People forget the Pirates had a winning record against the Dodgers. I think the Reds are the worst team in that league. I think,
well, you're talking about 65.5 for Cincinnati, 67.5 for Pittsburgh. So
I don't like. Why do the Reds have a closer? Diaz is a good closer. I mean, he might as well be idle like a landline.
He's like, all right, gonna collect my
bullpen coach.
Still got the West, and we got the individual winners and our best totals, the overs and unders. Sarah Baker Hansen coming up next.
All right, and we're getting ready for a really exciting time at Woodhouse Mazda in the Mazda SUV lineup as they are introducing to you Mazda's first ever nationally available plug-in hybrid, the Mazda CX-90, boasting Mazda's most powerful engine to date. It's a vehicle that meets the needs of your everyday. You've got plenty of space for all of those trips with the family or all those outdoor adventures that you can be taking, and plenty of room for all of your cargo. And with this new vehicle coming soon to Woodhouse Place Mazda and Woodhouse Mazda, you can be the first to experience also its three-row SUV, carefully crafted to exhilarate through a combination of design, technology, and performance. And with every Mazda SUV, and trust me, as a proud owner of a Mazda SUV, I can tell you the safety standards are second to none. They've got all the latest features, including standard all-wheel drive, Mazda radar cruise control, and that comes with stop and go, rear traffic cross alert, just to name a few. Learn more about the first ever 2024 Mazda CX-90 online at WoodhouseMazda.com or WoodhousePlaceMazda.com. You can chat with a sales team member online and easily schedule a test drive, check vehicle availability, and much more. Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but the roadway is reduced to one lane northbound along 72nd at L Street due to a water main break, so please be cautious if you are in that area. Then on Dodge, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th, and on Center, be prepared for a very minor delay from 192nd to 180th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like jewelry, gold chains, bracelets, earrings, wedding rings, and high-end watches, guns, electronics, $10 to $50,000, super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
Here are 3 very important things to remember. 1. Leach Camper Sales is having a 2022 blowout sale. 2. Council Bluffs. That's where Leach Camper Sales is located. And 3. Ed. The coffee's always on. Of course it is.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
It's time to get registered for this year's annual Clausen Leahy Maverick Run on April 22nd at Baxter Arena. This race has something for every type of runner with a 1-mile kids race, a 5K walk, and a 5K or 10K run. Plus, in conjunction with the kids race, there's a kids zone with a variety of activities inside Baxter Arena. The event starts at 8:30 a.m. on April 22nd. Go to omavs.com/Maverick Run to find out more information and to get registered. It's the Maverick Run at Baxter Arena, April 22nd. See you there.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 11th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let us handle all the details steps away on the south side of Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination. Blur Events takes care of all the work so you can enjoy the day.
One of the Nebraska Lottery's most explosively fun promotions is back. Cash Blast. Until April 18th, buy a 2x2 ticket, enter the voucher number, and you could win $5,000 or $500. If your winning voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket or a multiple of 7 ticket, your prize is doubled. There will be 7 weekly drawings and 14 total winners in Cash Blast. So play today. You'll have a blast. But that goes without saying. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000. Did you know that when you play games from the Nebraska Lottery, you're also supporting and even... That's right. Since 1993, the Nebraska Lottery has raised more than $900 million for Nebraska's environment, educational opportunities, and state fair. So to everyone who plays, we say, the Nebraska Lottery, 30 years of building a better Nebraska.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Halftime brought to you by Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street, next to Cubby's. It's Hearth Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
She might be in her kitchen. It sounds like. We welcome in Sarah Baker Hansen. Are you in your kitchen?
I was pouring myself a coffee.
Oh, there you go.
All right. We got lots to discuss, and of course,
Yes, we
the
do.
beer bracket. But Nick might have a little controversy with something he heard out on the streets.
So,
Okay, I'm ready.
all right, Sarah. So I received a text from someone who shall not be named in
Okay.
the last week of trying to solicit my vote for a certain brewery. I don't know what the rules are, but do we need to contact anybody and run a full-fledged investigation on vote tampering?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I'm not sure what happened. I did get an email from a person. Sorry, let me clear my throat. Who said that they had some challenges voting and thought they had voted for the wrong brewery. not the one they wanted to vote for. And so we were able to go into the system and change the person's vote for them.
Oh, wow.
So we take voting very seriously.
Okay.
The system, as I think many people have tried to vote more than once, the system doesn't allow it. It's a pretty solid back end of the bracket that we have that only allows you to vote once each time, and it also validates your email address, so you can't use fake email addresses.
Well, there was no
Yeah.
quid pro quo, or there, I didn't feel threatened that if I didn't vote. So again, I know it maybe is a gray area, but I just wanted to make sure that everything was on the level when it came to this, because I think this is a highly coveted honor.
Yeah, I mean, we put a lot of time and effort into making sure that the bracket runs really seamlessly, that there's no cheating. When we started the bracket, this was our third year doing it. We investigated a lot of different, I guess the terminology would be bracket software, which you can look at to run a bracket. And, some of it wasn't as secure as others. We actually pay a premium for our bracket software to make sure that it is secure. And it has features like you can only vote once, and it looks at your email to make sure it's, not a made up email. And if it is a made up email, the vote does not get counted, and you can't register to vote again under a fake email. So we did try to do our background work on that, and also I pay per amount of votes. We pay more, and I can tell you this morning that we are closing in on 150,000 individual votes in this contest.
Nice.
Wow. And we are down.
So that's a lot.
And we are down to the finalists. So the Omaha region, this isn't a surprise because they're two of the most popular breweries, and they do great work. Nebraska Brewing Company edged out Cross Train.
Yeah.
I
think that was my website manager told me, and I think this is right, but Nebraska Brewing Company.
Wow. That's an instant classic right there.
That was probably our closest contest that we've had, but several of them have been, low double digits, like between 10 and 20 votes that some of these breweries won by.
There's and we talked about when you were on a couple of weeks ago, and this kind of happened with the burgers and the pizza. There are new places that people have not tried. They see them in a bracket, and so they'll go and try them. I will say one that I know they've been very active here in the community, and they made it all the way to the semifinals or the Sweet 16 of the Omaha region, was Pint 9 Brewing, which was an 11 seed coming in. I've heard a lot of people that have said, well, I've heard about them, but I don't know much about them. Where are they in Omaha? And you go, well, they're out in La Vista, that have tried that. So this is one of the other caveats of this, is there are new places that people haven't heard of that they'll go and try Pint 9, but I know they've been very active in growing their brand in Omaha.
Yeah, there's been a lot of brands who have really been doing a lot of social media to promote their beers. I've seen some coupons for, $1 off a beer. I've seen a T-shirt giveaways. I've seen different breweries doing creative stuff to get people to vote and engage in the contest. One of the most active breweries this entire time was a brewery in Scottsbluff, Nebraska called Flyover, which I had never heard of. And the next time I'm out Scottsbluff way, you can bet I will be going to Flyover. I've also gone to several new breweries during this sort of month of beer in my life. And I have a story coming out later today about a brewery that I had, number one, never heard of, and number two, never been to. So even I discover new places during this. It's honestly one of my favorite things about it. And I think, people certainly have their complaints, and you can see them all complaining to me on Twitter about who wins, who loses, why it isn't fair, how our seating was wrong, all of those types of things. But honestly, it's all in good fun. And I do think that the best part of it is that exactly what you're describing.
Well,
people find new places.
Well, yeah, Sarah, and the biggest takeaway I have from this bracket, and I'm sure this is part of the reason of doing something like this, whether we're talking about burgers, we're talking about pizza, or in this case, craft beer, is sure there's going to be ones that I assume who emerges as the top dog, people are very familiar with. But as you mentioned, the ones that maybe you're voting against simply because you don't know them, Well, now
Yeah.
you're adding that to the list of, oh, wow, I didn't know that was in Omaha, or, oh, wow, I didn't know that was in Lincoln or somewhere else in the state of Nebraska. I'm going to check them out because I think at the very least we can all agree anyone who's voting on this, they're all craft beer fans. And the more options, especially throughout the state of wherever your travels are, the more options. I think what this bracket is, because there was at least 5 or 6 that I had never even heard of, but I'm always interested in trying every one that I possibly can. So even for the ones who didn't win, they're getting that attention, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And when we got down to the final 4 and Scratchtown in Ord, Nebraska was there, I was it was our number 1 seed. We know the folks who run it. They're great people and they make really good beer. But it's just really fun to see, a brewery in Ord, Nebraska going up against Nebraska Brewing Co. Of course, Nebraska Brewing has a lot of name recognition, been around for a long time, so they did end up going forward. But even Zipline, like I said a couple weeks ago when we talked, when I did my food prowl many years ago now, Zipline was the winner, and so it's cool to see them kind of sustaining that popularity, still out there, still making great beer. Like, it's just fun to see how this industry in Nebraska has grown and how enthusiastic people are about craft beer in Nebraska. And I think, at the end of the day, whoever wins, Nebraska Brewing Company, Kincaidor, I think they're both solid, they're solid contenders. There's going to be a lot more voting that goes into it before we name our champion. And it's been a super fun bracket. I think people have been really having a good time with it.
So Nebraska Brewing Company, and as you brought up Scratchtown Brewing, shout out Ord Chanticleers. I do have a question, though, because when you were on last time and we were talking about Scratchtown, and we had a couple of listeners that were really excited that they were involved in this and got a number 1 seed. You mentioned that you know the owners. People are saying, Gary, you've got to go try the Popcorn Days, which is essentially a popcorn beer. Have you heard more about the Popcorn Days that they offer at Scratchtown in Ord?
I have been to Scratchtown and Ord a bunch of times. I cannot say I have tried Popcorn Days, but I would. And I think, it's really fun to see. There's been a lot of conversation, like after I wrote the story about cross-strain and then the story that I have coming out today, there's so many collaborations happening between breweries throughout the state of Nebraska. And there's so many breweries that are doing stuff like the popcorn beer you're describing. Like, there's a hamburger beer. There's all of these different, stouts that are like chocolatey, nutty, peanut butter, like all these cinnamon and vanilla, like all these really different, cool, interesting. The green beer that I posted from Cross-Strain, which was not a regular green beer. It was like a sour raspberry beer. So I think there's just so much creativity within the brewing industry in Nebraska. And I think that's one of the things that I have really come to appreciate during this month. And also, my own taste in beer has actually changed quite a bit. So it's been fun to sort of see, what else is out there and what I like that I maybe would have thought I didn't like before, and now I do.
So, Sarah, I've said this for several years, and going through this type of bracket in an exercise like this for anybody who is partaking and voting, are you, and putting it together yourself, were you kind of surprised, kind of amazed how many craft breweries that we do have in this state, whether we're talking about, Eastern Nebraska, Western Nebraska, or somewhere in between, and they're all pretty well thought of too, for a place like Nebraska that's maybe not known for that as much as some other states.
Yeah, I think we could become more known for craft beer, or we're already becoming known for it. I mean, for us to have 64 breweries across the state is pretty notable. And I think, I used to do public relations for Nebraska Tourism a decade or more ago. And at that point, Caleb Pollard, one of the owners of Scratchtown, was also working at the Department of Economic Development in Lincoln. That's how we met. And so, he went on to open a brewery in Ord, and I went on to write about food. And now, he was one of the 1 seeds in my beer bracket. So, life is weird. Connections within this state are weird, but I think, when we were both working at the Department of Economic Development, the craft beer scene really wasn't a thing. We were talking about how it might become a thing, and now it is a real thing. And to see this many breweries out there, I mean, you look at the map, which I shared early on, and I can share again today. There are tons of breweries. I mean, I heard several stories during the month about people, whether they be in the industry or just kind of Nebraskans who have made it their goal to go to every single one of these breweries in the state. And a couple people have actually pulled it off, which I think would be a super fun road trip to take on at some point. But there's one person in particular that I'm hoping to talk to about their expedition around the state of Nebraska to try every single craft brewery, because I think that's pretty cool.
Hey, you also, and we should give them a little love, the Nebraska Craft Brewery Board. You just mentioned the amount of breweries we have in this state. What's their role when it comes to growing the brand?
The Nebraska Craft Brewery Board their role is, they're a state agency. They just support the industry. They do advocacy on behalf of the craft brewers around the state. They help promote it. They want to. They are, their goal is to grow agricultural diversity in the state of Nebraska. So, i.e., hops. They just want the industry to be supported by the local Nebraskans who can support it and by people who visit. And they just want to make sure that they stay profitable. They are also a sponsor. They gave us a grant in order to be able to do a statewide contest this year. So for the first time ever, we are not working for free thanks to the Nebraska Craft Brewery Board.
Fantastic.
So that's pretty awesome.
All right. So coming up on April 3rd, you will reveal who is the winner of Nebraska's favorite beer. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right.
We've got several more stories about Nebraska breweries coming in the days leading up to that.
Nice.
I've been busy.
Hey, and we talked last time you were on, and it's now moving to the next stage. I can't get over, and we're talking about David Utterback, who is, the Baird Award for the best chef in the Midwest, the James Baird Awards, has made it to the next step, and he's going to be honored in Chicago. I think that is really, really great for Omaha, and it's not just him. We talked about other people that have been honored, but that is great, and I know you're involved in that we've got him to where he's going to be at the ceremony in Chicago in June.
Yeah, I've been writing about it. I've, love talking about the James Beard Award. We talked last time I was on, but it is the Oscars of the food world, and what happened yesterday is just a huge moment for food in Nebraska. It's the first time ever that we have had a chef move from the semifinalist round to the finalist round. So, I mean, really in the semifinalist round, hundreds and hundreds of chefs across the country are nominated in the semifinalist round. That group of, probably ballpark 20 is narrowed down to 5. So every time we've had chefs nominated in the past, which we've had some great chefs nominated over the years, no one's ever moved beyond that semifinalist category into the category where those 5 chefs, one of them will actually be a James Beard Award winner later this June. And so I think what that means for the culinary scene, it may sound like I'm overstating it, but really this is a huge honor, not just for Dave and his crew and his restaurant, but really for the whole city of Omaha. I think it marks a moment where we have made a huge jump in terms of being among the peer cities that have James Beard Award winning restaurants throughout the Midwest. We don't have one. We never have. And now we're really honestly on the cusp of winning this award with such a talented individual who has, we're lucky enough in Omaha to have him here cooking for all of us at now 3 restaurants and a wine bar in Benson. So really incredible individual. I've written a lot of stories about Dave, eaten his food many times, looking forward to continuing to eat his food. But I mean, I'm definitely biased in this situation. I really want him to win.
So
I just think it would be so cool.
I think it's also cool. So he's up for best chef in the Midwest region, which includes Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin. So there's some large cities that are involved. But you have somebody from Omaha, and I noticed that there are 2 chefs from Madison, Wisconsin, and another chef from Sioux Falls that are up in this category. That says a lot about also the committee that you're looking, beyond the major cities, but also kind of great for those communities that are a little bit smaller, that they've got special people that own restaurants in their towns.
Yeah, the committee seems to be looking beyond where it's looked in the past. I don't know exactly how the final decisions are made. Nobody really does. But I think it's really fascinating and intriguing that, the James Beard Award kind of went away in 2020. They didn't award any awards that year, and then they kind of went back to the drawing board, and that's been publicly known that they've sort of tried to revamp how the award works and make diversity more important, make cuisine more important, make style and type of restaurant, because really, it was only a fine dining award. And when you look at the nominees this year and last year, you can see that they were working toward, I guess, a different set of nominees. And so, yeah, there are nominees in smaller communities. And I feel like, for a long time, I thought, the Omaha culinary scene could play ball in the same, arena or game with like Kansas City, where we're getting closer. I think there used to be more of a distance there. I also think one thing that's really cool about Dave getting the finalist nod is that he is doing sushi in Nebraska, which I think is just such a cool thing. I mean, it's one of the most difficult things you could try to do. Matthew tweeted a tweet yesterday about that. And really landlocked sushi is sort of one of the hardest things you can try to do. Like, we've got a lot of beef in Nebraska. We've got a lot of corn. We've got a lot of, stick to your ribs type food. Sushi, you wouldn't necessarily think of as being a thing in Omaha. And now we have a James Beard finalist doing what I would argue, and I did argue in my last review, some of the best sushi, not just in this area or in Nebraska, but in the entirety of the Midwest.
It's fantastic. That's a great honor, and I'm glad you're bringing attention to it and also bringing us the beer bracket, because it has generated quite the conversation. Should be exciting between Nebraska Brewing Company and Kincaid. Sarah, we always appreciate it. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
That's Sarah Baker Hansen. Again, the Nebraska beer bracket. We are down, NebraskaBeerBracket.com, by the way. Nebraska Brewing Company, Kincaid.
The Final Four, I got to say, was extremely competitive. Like, I know cross-training Nebraska Brewing, that's kind of a flip of the coin, depending on what the styles of beer you like. I think they all do something very well, but the sneaky one that I had a tough time with, Kincaid and Zipline. Because Zipline, I've had not only the beer, but so many good times at their different tap rooms, but also Kincaid. Kincaid was one that like snuck up on me a long time ago. I'm like, gosh, this is good. Going to some of the beer fests and stuff. So those are two worthy ones. But if you would have had cross train and Zipline, that would have been a very good championship game as well.
Birth weekend, we were gallivanting around Lincoln, and so brewery hopping and whatnot.
Did you say birth weekend?
Birthday weekend. That's what I meant. Yes, birth weekend. I was going to say that weekend.
Wife had a kid and we went drinking.
Wow, she can drink again. No, we were gallivanting around Lincoln, and I was very disappointed that evening when we didn't get a chance to make it to Kincaid, because we've always enjoyed going there.
Yeah, that's good.
And you saying that, it's like, well, warmer days coming, you get more of those days and have a chance to do that. I just think we should have a sample of all of them in here and just,
we should
taste for you, because we do work for the people.
We should do it for the championship, and
because you can't lose either way. It's a good time.
Yeah, that Kincaid one and over by the rail yard, it's a great setup in the Haymarket too. It's good stuff. But Zipline as well. Nebraska Brewing cross train is awesome. Like
there's a Zipline tasting room not far from where we live.
Yep, we're lucky with the breweries we have. So yeah, I loved that she did that bracket. I think that's cool, because there are so many, and I made a note of some of the other ones that I wanted to try that I hadn't even heard of, and some that are on the come. You mentioned Pint 9, that has always been there right around the same time as Cross Train, because they're right next to Cross Train in their original place. They've really stepped up some of their. If you're an IPA fan, I'm a huge IPA fan. They're stepping up a lot of their selection too. So. It's cool to see, and it feels like every year we get a new one, and you're going to find. I guarantee you're going to find at least one or two, depending on what your palate is, that you're going to find at all these places that you like.
We'll give our predictions for the West. You can drink to those predictions, but first, here's an update with Jimmy.
For a second, I thought you were saying we'll give our predictions for the finals. of the Nebraska beer bracket.
We'll break down.
Hold on, let me study.
I think
the IBU.
So Nick is probably of the three of us the bigger craft beer guy. I think he's very hesitant to pick and choose a favorite.
Didn't
you used to do a show at Nebraska Brewing Company?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
And our wedding reception was there too. So I'm a little biased, sure, but
well played.
Kincaider, in my neighborhood, let's rise up.
Hey, Kincaider's a good one.
But here's the thing.
Kincaider's a damn good one.
People made the right decision. You can't go wrong with either one.
Yep. Agreed.
I was just like Switzerland there.
Yeah, we all win.
that is very, very well played there. Very well played.
Check the fridge during the next break. Whatever. It's radio. Creighton softball falls to Drake 9-0 in 5 innings at the Creighton Sports Complex yesterday. Jays host Butler in a 3-game series beginning tomorrow. Omaha softball falls at Wichita State 6-1 yesterday. They fall to 16-9. They'll host North Dakota in a Summit League series beginning at 1 p.m. Saturday. Some college basketball stuff. Former Stanford NBA star, let's say it loosely, and dancer extraordinaire Mark Madsen has officially been hired as head coach at Cal. A Stanford guy coaching at Cal. Madsen had previously been coach at Utah Valley, where he spent the past 3 seasons winning the regular season WAC championship this season, advancing to the NIT semifinals before losing 88-86 to UAB in overtime 2 nights ago. They finished their season 28-9, 15-3 in conference play. So a sneaky good coach there. And, some guy a guy who knows the area and sort of the lay of the land. Penn State has its new basketball coach to replace Micah Shrewsbury. They hire VCU's Mike Rhodes as its men's basketball coach. They announced yesterday that its board of trustees has approved a 7-year contract for Rhodes, who will make nearly $26 million in total guarantees and earn just over $1 million in additional incentives. Rhodes informed his VCU team of his decision during a meeting yesterday afternoon as the drama over him leaving played out over the past few days. VCU quietly ran a search to replace him, and they announced yesterday that it hired Utah State's Ryan Odom to replace him. So, silly season, and that was a big one, and we'll see how that works out for Penn State. Some more baseball stuff. Padres third base coach and one of my favorite players growing up, Matt Williams, has been diagnosed with colon cancer. He'll be away from the team for an undisclosed period of time. The news was revealed by manager Bob Melvin yesterday afternoon, roughly 24 hours before the team begins its very highly anticipated season. Williams will be with the Padres for opening day when they host Colorado today, and then he'll undergo surgery to remove a growth near his colon. The prognosis looks good. He feels positive. We'll always wonder, among many other questions, if there's no strike in 1994, could he have broken the home run record and the chase that was going on then? And who knows, the Expos might still be in Montreal after winning the World Series that year. Minor League Baseball players and Major League Baseball struck a tentative deal yesterday on the first collective bargaining agreement between the sides that will more than double player pay, and it represents the largest ever gains for the rights of minor leaguers. The deal, which will last for 5 years, comes after a rapid and successful effort last year by minor leaguers to unionize under the umbrella of Major League Baseball's Players Association and follows previous improvements in housing and pay. MLB formally recognized the union upon its formation, paving the way for a negotiation that finalized the deal on the eve of opening day.
And it could be official on the first day of minor league baseball tomorrow,
which is tomorrow.
I was telling Sharpie this off the air. I think a lot of us understood like the differences in pay, and I know it's been discussed so much in the last year too. But to think that a AAA player, just the bare minimum, and I get a lot of those numbers were focused on the bare minimum, so this is more of the rank and file. Wow, people who thought like, hey, you're in AAA, all right, you're pulling in some jack. Oh my god,
then maybe Daniels.
That was absurd. And here's your 5 roommates too. Enjoy that.
Thanks, Jimmy. All right, 33 past the hour. We still have our West Division, our individual awards, and our overs and unders. And now we are about 30 minutes from Matt Verzal in Chicago, getting ready for opening day. He won't be able to go to the sports book because the sports book right next to Wrigley Field doesn't open, I think, until June.
What time do they open the bars over in Wrigleyville?
Oh,
now
probably like 6 a.m.
Yeah, they're
I know they're open now, but
they are. I think they open at probably 6.
That's what I was wondering. When we came on the air, were they like, "Hey, good for them"?
Like Murphy has the little marquee, so they always in the off season, if you ever have any reason to go out, into Wrigleyville when it's cold as what, Murphy's always has a countdown how many days until opening day, and every day they post their message. And so today is 0 days until baseball. It's Stroh opening day. Marcus Stroman pitching today. So I think they'll probably open at 6, little kegs and eggs.
Oh yeah, that's the way to do it. How long do we think? Do you think Verz got up with them?
Yeah, he prepares for this.
He didn't sleep in. I know
he's a veteran. So we'll see how ready he is for the game.
When he said Pedialyte, Yeah, you're not getting Pedialyte unless you're hardcore.
That's a pro move right there.
Yeah. So he'll join us coming up the top of the hour. Also, an hour away from your chance to win a gift card from Oscar's Pizza and Grill. And Brian Edwards got a thought. He just reminded me. I saw his picks come in. Just reminded me. We have the NIT final tonight.
Yeah. Conference USA.
The UAB, UNT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Big moment for the conference.
Mike Rhodes, new to the Big Ten. Welcome.
Yep.
From VCU
Hello.
to Penn State. 9 Shaka Smart assistants are now head coaches in Division I basketball.
There's a tree.
9.
Probably one that doesn't get, yeah, that's a lot.
And it's not like Shaka's been a head coach
No.
for, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
9 assistants.
There's still people to try to track the Shaka Smart. What tree did he come from the coaching tree? And now you look at it, he already has now 9 assists.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is a lot. How old is Shaka? But not
Very
like 40.
Early 40s.
43?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find him on the golf course and we'll ask him.
About the slaves.
He's already dressed for it.
Well, yeah, he's ready for a 55-degree but sunny tee time.
I'm sure that at some point this year he'll throw out the first pitch. I keep wanting to call it Miller Park. I don't even know what they renamed it. It's just
I refuse to.
it's
Miller Park.
It's Wrigley North in Milwaukee.
Fair.
Like Shaka shows up to throw out the first pitch. He has to be dressed like that, right?
I hope so, yeah.
Like a polo with the long sleeves underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's his look now.
Will he transition to a 3/4 zip? Or do you think he's
No.
he's already crossed that threshold?
He's not even tucking in
You're
his
now,
shirt.
yeah, you're at the point of no return.
That is his look.
Yeah.
All right, 36 past the hour. Back with more Mornings with Sharp and Handley after this on 1620 The Zone. Hey, Woodhouse Buick GMC. You could shop there first. Experience the difference. 119th and I. You're looking for the perfect car, truck, or SUV. Like an abundance of light-duty pickups that meet your needs, like the 23 GMC Sierra 1500. One of the best in that group. 8 available trim. They've got a lot of infotainment options for you. Camera views as well. You can check it out in person, 119th and I, or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com, where you can essentially do everything that you would do in person, you can do online, including set up driveway delivery. Check them out today, 119th and I, climate-controlled indoor showroom, or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on The Crossover.
Pat is a former air traffic controller. Pat, what's going on?
So an air traffic controller can get you from point A to point B and steer you away from mountains, cliffs, large buildings, but they're not going to be able to teach you how to land a plane.
Okay, that makes it a little bit more difficult. So Happer and Nick are wrong, Pat, right? That's basically what you're saying? No.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
We're wrong.
Perfect.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Warm and windy weather on the way for Thursday. Still cool early on, but warming up quickly as winds turn more out of the south, gusting around 35 miles per hour in the early afternoon. Highs will top out around 70. Wind advisory goes into effect at 4 p.m. as we could see wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour into Friday morning. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're still getting reports of that water main break northbound along 72nd at L Street. That's going to be backed up all the way to Q Street, and you can expect delays of up to 5 minutes in that area. Then we also have a couple of accidents to report, starting with one along 72nd at Harrison Street, and then another along L Street near 120th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
Does great pay, fully funded medical benefits, and a solid retirement sound good to you? IBEW has immediate openings for journeyman electricians. Invest in yourself with IBEW Local 22. Call Bob at 402-980-7596.
College basketball is in full swing and gearing up for the college basketball tournament. Watch it all season long at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill. Of course, Oscars serves great pizza, but don't forget about their award-winning charred buff wings or even their delicious fish and chips. Perfect for Friday nights. Dine in or carry out at 173rd and West Center. Carry out at 162nd and Maple, and order online at oscarsomaha.com.
Peerless Energy Systems is Nebraska and Iowa's locally owned and operated authorized solar air compressor distributor. Peerless Energy Systems provides products and solutions for compressed air systems, helping companies in manufacturing, food processing, transportation, auto body repair, car dealers, and more. Driving industry efficiency through service, support, and relationships, let Peerless Energy Systems help you increase efficiency with your compressed air systems today. PeerlessEnergy.com.
The Blue Jay Zone is brought to you by Barry Law. We're in it to win it. The final words on an emotional season. A speech from Greg McDermott.
You have rallied and galvanized not a university, not a community, but anybody that's ever had anything to do with Creighton University.
For the complete video, check out Creighton's Twitter handle @BlueJayMMB.
Without a guarantee. Focus, discipline, and extraordinary effort make winning more likely. Coming back from a serious injury is a win that requires teamwork. At Barry Law, we're in it to win it.
If you have been seriously injured in an accident, call Barry Law today. 402-999-7777.
Can I take your order?
Can I get a small chicken sandwich meal?
Sorry, we only sell jumbo meals. Same size for everyone.
Sometimes one size fits all isn't right for you. Same goes for your mobile plan. At Cox Mobile, get what you actually need and start saving with the right data plan. If your needs change, switch between plans at any time. Now that's something different.
Thanks. I think I'll go get something different.
Cox Mobile. We're different because you're different. Visit cox.com/mobile to learn more. Postpaid Cox internet required. Other restrictions apply.
At Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Midlands, one youth, one mentor, plus one moment could unlock limitless potential. When you sign up to become a mentor, you are matched one-to-one with a child in the greater Omaha community, a child with big potential. There are over 130 youth waiting for a big like you. Sign up today at mentoromaha.org. Once again, that's mentoromaha.org.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Now it's on Marquee.
Yep.
Sports Network.
Channel 9. I didn't know Marquee was on Channel 9. No, sit down, kids. Let me tell you about what you could have seen.
America used to be good when you could get WGN, the Chicago version of WGN, across the country. Like you could watch the Bozo Show, you could watch the WGN News, and I could watch the Chicago weather with Tom Skilling.
Yep. I feel like I grew up with Tom Skilling.
Dan Roan was giving me the sports. Rich King. I think Dan Roan is recently retired.
Yeah, not too long ago. Wayne Larrabee was calling Bulls games. And
Sharpie, if you ever want to feel nostalgic, though, we told you we have a little bit of a hack job on YouTube TV where we have the Chicago area code. So all of our ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox affiliates are all on our basement TV. That way we can watch Chicago Bears games. So if you need to feel that, you're more than welcome to come down to the basement and watch some live Chicago television.
Hey, nice hack there.
That's a good hack. Yeah. It was a very good hack.
Hey, the Rev on Twitter here in our discussion with SBH about the Nebraska beer bracket. I guess I have not. I'm pretty simple when I go to Cross Drain. The Rev says they have the gas station cheeseburger hazy IPA.
I've never had that one.
I am intrigued.
Yeah.
I mean, got to try it. Got to have the knowledge.
So if
research.
Scratchtown and Ord has popcorn haze, which a listener said it tastes exactly like popcorn.
Yeah, I had to look that one up. It's a cream ale, by
All
the
right.
way.
So the next time I'm at Cross Drain, I will put that on there. Thanks for the recommendation, Rev.
I'm intrigued by that too. They have some clever names.
See, we all come together with something like this.
One quick thing, we may run out of time, but I wanted to touch on. So Trev last night made the big announcement about Frank Solich, and he'll be back for the spring game. It may be the last time that Coach Solich and Coach Osborne are together. Coach Solich, 78 years old. He's had a couple of health issues of late, but doing well. And and then Coach Osborne, who still doing well, but they're both getting up there in age. I mean, kind of you look at both of them, and they'll be together. I mean, I remember being at the Outland banquet, and they're together, and I mean, there's a lot of emotions. Just those two guys, everything they've meant to Nebraska football. But spring game could be the last time they're together. One's 78, the other's 85. But dang, what a moment that is going to be. But last night they, a lot of things that Trev gets through on his radio show. He talked about basketball. Is it a make or break for both men's and women's basketball coaches next year? I've already said NCAA tournament for the men.
Yeah.
You can't get to year 5 and not be in the NCAA tournament. Don't give me the NIT. NCAA tournament. Okay. You can't go then to year 6 and going, well, we're getting there. Nebraska women's basketball, they haven't been there as much on a regular basis. And this probably was an NCAA team, at least this year, if Widener doesn't get injured and they have a couple of other injuries. But they've got to be more, I got to find some more athleticism and get Markowski back to where she needs to be. But did I get the sense, and I've said this before, and it just kind of reiterated last night, Trev's not a basketball guy. Trev's a football guy. He's in charge of all the sports there, but not necessarily a basketball guy. Just
I don't put the same amount of pressure on Amy Williams as I would Fred, and a lot of that, as you bring up Trev, I go back to the narrative 2 years ago when Nebraska goes to the NCAA tournament. He couldn't say enough good things about Amy Williams and the job that she was doing. And I felt like he was always, respectful to Fred and the challenges that existed. But I just felt that he was maybe sort of blown away with what he saw from Amy, because as we know, Trev, when he tries to evaluate his coaches, and he did this at Omaha, and you saw it as well, that he goes beyond the record. He's a competitive guy. He wants to win. He wants, his sports to always be, some of the top competitors that you're going to see. But I think he kind of geeks out about leadership styles. And I think there was something about Amy Williams that year that he really was sort of taken back from. So maybe that builds you a little bit more equity. And given the fact that, okay, that happened this year, that was a disappointment. But I think the men's sense of urgency of what Fred needs to accomplish compared to women, I still think are on the different levels. That's not to say the next year isn't a positional year for Amy Williams in the Nebraska women's basketball program, but I still think they're probably a little bit different.
Trev said he wished they finished stronger. Talking about the men. Now we're disappointed they lost to Minnesota, which would have probably got them into the NIT at least. But they
February
did have February and won at Iowa on the last day of the regular season. This is what, as the offseason moves on and Creasa is trying to decide between West Virginia and Nebraska, still wonder where Xavier is with Sean Miller, who recruited him to Tucson, if they're going to get involved. But I think Nebraska made a good presentation. Is at Creighton, if Creighton needs a player, their NIL says, Mac will take care of you. We'll step up to the plate. Okay? Whatever you need to be put together that you're comfortable with and we're comfortable with because we trust you, here's what we'll do for you. If Fred went to the 1890 initiative and said, I need this guy, but this guy has got a really good offer here. I need this guy. I think a sign is if your NIL says, Coach, we got your back. What do you need? Let's put it together. Instead of, are you sure? Are you sure? Well, let me get back to you. Now that's a sign if you're the coach that,
Mm-hmm.
But if it's the other way, you're like, all right, because they believe in me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So watch that and there's going to be a lot of moving parts with Nebraska basketball, and it's not just an eccentric point guard coming from Tucson. But if Fred says, hey, this is the guy that we want, what's his name? Masood from K-State is in the portal.
Yeah,
we had
that
15
was,
against FAU.
Yeah, wow.
He's got one more year to play. He's in the portal. Like, let's say Nebraska says, that's a guy we definitely got to have in the Big Ten. But he's also going to have a lot of interest. Hey, 1890, what can you do for me? If they immediately go, no problem, Fred, we got this. Okay, that's a great sign. But if it's like, why? If you have to explain, then that's where that's a little tricky area. But that'll be an important part of like the offseason. And Trev alluded to it. There's offseason. I've said Nebraska basketball, why can't there be expectations? That's what we run away from. I've done it around here, so why have expectations? Have expectations of going from a 6-win bump from last year to this year to you know what? A 3-win bump, a 4-win bump, a bump of a couple of slots in the Big Ten, and then you're accomplishing a goal, and then let's see if that gives you some momentum. The other thing to watch, I'm very curious on what kind of style that they will play in year 5. He established slow it down, play a little bit more defense. I don't think they'll be in the level of the San Diego State defense. But looking at some of the guys they're going after, I wonder if I wonder if they're going to go back to the old Fred.
Yeah.
And how they're going to play in terms of tempo and offensive over defense. But that would go against what Trev said last night.
Right.
I liked what they did. I wrote this down. He played the style that fits the value of Husker fans. Come on.
I saw that.
What are we doing here?
I'm like, well, let's make sure we're doing that. At the very least, we're winning 7 games a year. But by God, that defensive mindset, it just resonates with the values of Nebraskans.
It's almost a kiss of death.
Well, I don't.
And this is where I think when you talk about a basketball guy versus a football guy, there's a little bit of that part of it where you're thinking, when it comes down to it, a defensive mind team style fitting the values of Husker fans, I think Husker fans could find their values in winning.
Run the damn basketball?
I think all Nebraskans who pay attention to Nebraska basketball or Nebraska athletics, they could alter their values if it had to do with a winning style of basketball.
Danny teams were fun. Yeah. Like they ran.
I don't know if it necessarily fit the values.
Here's my style of basketball. Are you winning?
Yeah, exactly. I
like that style.
That fits my value. Those are the values that I embrace in life, are winning styles.
But the bottom line in the offseason, before they ever turn the scoreboard on at Pinnacle Bank Arena, is Fred needs a win this offseason. Like, needs a win. Whether it be, and you know what? And I'm very intrigued. So they've gotten back into the mix with Brady Dunlop, who's a 6'7" wing who committed to Notre Dame, who Nebraska had a lot of interest in before he committed to Mike Bray, and Bray leaves, and now it's wide open, and he's coming in for a visit. That's a high school kid. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of your newcomers are going to be portal guys, but a high school guy, okay. I see that. I could get behind an addition of a late high school pickup, but Fred at some point this summer needs a win, needs to beat somebody perceived to be above him, like their program. He needs one of those wins this summer. Where it comes from, when it comes from, who knows? But I think he needs one of those going into the offseason. All right, let's get to our West picks here real quick. I'll go first. American League West. What are we doing?
No, it's more. I think it's more interesting on who's going to finish second.
No faith in the Rangers.
No, because you want to know a big reason why? Because I have the if. Now, my only hesitation, like I have the Astros, they're going to win that division again.
Mm-hmm.
But replacing Justin Verlander is going to be a little bit tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
with the Angels, there's a lot of love for going over on the Angels, and Ohtani will be the story and how long Ohtani stays with the Angels. If they get Anthony Rendon and a healthy Mike Trout, now they'll go over their win total, and I think they'll finish in a running for second. But the Seattle Mariners, so the nucleus of their run is in the system, and they could be, watch this, everybody next year is talking about Ohtani to the Dodgers or the Mets. Keep an eye on the Seattle Mariners for Ohtani in the sweepstakes. If he gets out there as a free agent, but I love what the Mariners are doing. Hernandez could be a sleeper. Julio Rodriguez is a budding star.
Stud.
Luis Castillo, Robbie Ray, they're the second best team in that division. That is actually a division, guys, that I think you could have 4 teams finish over 500.
Yeah.
And the AL West hasn't had that in a long time.
And then you have Oakland.
Yeah, I again, spoiler, I got a huge, well, not spoiler, that is it. Houston winning, but I'm going to, the Seattle LA race, I think, is going to be fascinating. And I got Seattle just edging out Los Angeles. I think Los Angeles is going to have a strong push. And do not overlook the value of desperation with Shohei Ohtani. And if you're going to get something done, you don't know how much more time you have with him. You've got to get it done this year. There is pressure. Sometimes teams respond well to that. Sometimes they don't. A little bit more bolstered with that rotation that they've got now with Anderson. So there's something there. And it's almost kind of like why people wouldn't pick Houston. Like, well, they've got to have a step back at some point, right? Everything has to maybe not go their way, right?
Chiefs can't win.
It's the same thing with LA. It's like, well, they can't just continue to finish towards the bottom of the division. They've got too much talent. They're going to finally make it interesting at some point, right? But yeah, I think Seattle's solid, but I think LA is going to be right there behind them. But yeah, Houston's winning.
Astros will win. My only question with them is, they're over under. Will they hit 100 wins this year? How do you replace Verlander? I mean, that's the thing that I kind of keep coming back to. But what we saw in the World Series last year and the arms that they have, and you have Javier and you have Valdez, and they'll win 100 games. I know Altuve's hurt, but I mean, you kind of told me yesterday and talking about, the guys they do have. It's like, all right, I won't be modest. So I'm torn, and I'm going to make a big mistake here because I'm going to take the cheese, and I'm going to say, for once, the Angels will figure out a way, and I'll never do it again if they don't find a way. I say Seattle, though good, maybe takes a small step back, and I'll put the Angels in second. So I probably just jinxed all that all together, and Mariners will be right there in the 90s.
All right, let's quickly go through the West. When Bogarts signed with San Diego, they have the top 4 guys in WAR. Hader was better after August. They're going to win the NL West because they've improved at 3 infield positions. The Dodgers will finish runner-up, but it may be the best thing that could happen to the Dodgers because they will come out of the weeds in the playoffs. No Dodger team that's won 100 games has won the World Series. Dodgers won't win the World Series this year, but the Dodgers, and I'm all in on Miguel Vargas. Watch him play tonight against the D-backs. I bought all kinds of stock on that rookie. The Dodgers will go further than the Padres in the postseason.
Okay. San Diego as well for me. The Dodgers and good on them. They didn't knee jerk to everything that was going on around them with the roster. San Diego, my God, though, find me a weak spot there. Find me a weak spot in the rotation. Find me a weak spot in that lineup. It's insane. So again, over 162 game season, I think San Diego, they will build the record that will have them winning that division. The Dodgers with a veteran core, though, I could see that happening with LA. I do have them in as the wild card team, but another team that I'm interested to see how much they develop this year too is Arizona. And we're not done as far as this conversation with my thoughts on Arizona either.
Okay. Padres went all in. I think they're going to win the division. I think, yes, the Dodgers are going to finish second. They're not going to have that pressure for once, but the difference there is not only do I like the Padres, I think they're going to be your National League champion. That's kind of giving away a lot there, but they went all in on this. Got to find a way. Bitter taste in their mouth after losing that NLCS next year. So I'll go all in with the Padres.
All right, good stuff. That's all 3 divisions. We will do the overs and unders and our individual ones coming up in the last hour. That'll include Matt Verzal from Wrigley Field coming up next. Buckle up. Also, Brian Edwards and Ask Us Anything in the last hour of Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
Hey, everybody, it's Michael Severe for Ted and Wally's, 2 locations in the Old Market and, of course, in Benson as well. You know what goes great with college basketball and the College Basketball National Championship? Ice cream, and great ice cream from Ted and Wally's. It's the perfect treat. Seasonal flavors as well. Over 3,000 flavors. You can check out all the flavors on social media every single day. It's Ted and Wally's, 2 locations in Benson and, of course, in the Old Market as well. Enjoy your basketball and your ice cream from Ted and Wally's.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. I have been saying it throughout the last few weeks. They are changing the way that they do golf instruction at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. One of the changes, on-course instruction. If you want to find out more information and learn from Mike Faber and Jonathan Melke, find your best golf swing, give them a call today at 402-498-0220. They're located just north of Dodge on 120th Street, Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
Ever walk through a door and see all the trucks? Yeah, it's kind of like that at Gretna Auto Outlet. Half-ton trucks, 3/4-ton trucks, dualies, gas or diesel. Gretna Auto Outlet will be happy to show it to you. They don't call it truck heaven for nothing, you know. Stop in the climate-controlled comfort of the indoor showroom or online with the virtual showroom at GretnaAuto.com. Gretna Auto Outlet, open Sundays too, just north of Nebraska Crossing on Highway 6 in Gretna.
Come visit Le Voltaire, Omaha's own little corner of France, for mouth-watering appetizers, French flair entrees, melt-in-your-mouth desserts, and an extensive brunch menu on Sundays from 10 to 2, whether dinner or brunch with friends, celebrating a special occasion, entertaining clients, or just chilling with French wines and craft cocktails. Le Voltaire will make you feel right at home, just like they've been doing for more than 2 decades. Le Voltaire, just off 156th and West Dodge Road in Pepperwood Village, and at LeVoltaireOmaha.com.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're still getting reports of that water main break northbound along 72nd at L Street. That's going to be backed up all the way to Q Street, and you can expect delays of up to 5 minutes in that area. Then we also have a couple of accidents to report, starting with one along 72nd at Harrison Street, and then another along L Street near 120th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Fernando's has your fix for Lent, and we're not talking about the same old fish sandwich here. Fernando's has shrimp quesadillas, blackened Alaska street tacos, and baked tilapia. Get your Fernando's fix at 114th and Dodge or 75th and Pacific. FernandosOmaha.com.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
Ready to revolutionize your home's look? Smash those outdated windows and upgrade with J-Tech Construction, the official exterior and solar experts of the Huskers. For a limited time, qualified buyers enjoy no payments and 0 interest for a year. Plus, receive a free triple paint upgrade. Trust the best in the business and see why so many homeowners choose us. Contact us now and take the first step toward a stunning home transformation. The official exterior and solar experts of the Huskers, J-Tech Construction, your exterior experts.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-672-7070. That's 1-800-672-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-672-7070. That's 1-800-672-7070.
.com/commercials.
How powerful is the Cox network? So powerful that one day the internet will let your doctor perform miracles from thousands of miles away,
Connecting to remote operating room.
giving a whole new meaning to the term house call.
Operation complete.
The Cox network, with multi-gig speeds now available, it's internet built for tomorrow, today. Cox, bringing us closer. Limited availability in select areas. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms apply. Other restrictions may apply.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the spring sale, March 24th through April 3rd, and get 35% off paints and stains with prices starting at $28.92. That means 35% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, 35% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Oh, we are above Bud Heavy with Matt Verzal, opening day, Wrigley Field. It is the annual trip. He joins us now. How are we doing?
Sharpie, we are amongst the living.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, you still have a couple of hours so we can improve the voice. The latest tweet 15 minutes ago. Oh, you Pedialyte and Tito's.
Which could be a good drink, too.
Oh, yeah, it's great. As you rehydrate and dehydrate all at once. Fantastic combo.
Yeah, so the
for some reason, I thought I needed a cigar last night. That one's kind of hurting.
So is that the voice part of it? Was the cigar or just the overall cumulative effect?
Cigar voice, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, that's what that is. And probably being amongst the crowd all screaming at the top of our lungs at the Redhead Piano Bar. That doesn't help either.
You only live once. and you're not a rookie at this.
Tell you what, too, I'm sad. I gotta admit my faults. Part of the crew had made it to the end at about 2:30-ish. And so I was kind of around. One gentleman listened to me, he's like, I got to go. I was like, okay. So I'm rounding a couple up. And then a couple guys stayed. Evidently, bus full of people showed back up like 3:30. So I missed some fun. But no, it was a good start to the trip.
All right. So are you staying at the Drake?
Okay. So the history of the Drake is we've stayed pretty much everywhere in town.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some guys who are at the Drake. We're right around the corner. Like we ate at Rosebud last night, which was real good. And then they'll have partially like the crew has beaten a couple of the bartenders into submission and had them name drinks after them. So we'll go with Kenneth Bronick, executive screwdriver here in a little bit. And,
okay.
Wow. So we just kind of have. Well, I mean, Paulie, the main leader of the crew, has first name contacts with many bartenders, maitre d's. So it's a bunch of guys that probably feel they're a little bit cooler than they are, that have a lot more pull than they probably should at some place in Chicago.
So what's the plan? Like, all right, so leading up to first pitch, what's the plan? What's next? And then how can we follow you? Can we track you somehow?
The best way, just follow along on the Twitter.
Okay.
There'll be pictures. We will probably have a cocktail here in about 3 or 4 minutes, and then everybody gets showered up. We'll kind of congregate. If the Drake's open, we'll probably snag a quick one there. But Limo Lou is our guy. He's picking us up at 10:45, and so then we'll head down. We got reservations at Rizzo's.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, you are
Yeah,
not.
we got a table over there.
Hey, you are not only drinking well, you are eating well on this trip.
Rizzo's a good place. That is.
Oh yeah, it's awesome because they're in a little. Well, they used to be, but there's lawsuits flying around there with Rizzo and Rizzo's, and it's great to get some of the inside details of that. I got down in. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, finish.
No, you're good. I probably wouldn't remember what I was going to say anyway right now.
All right. So besides going to Rizzo's, and people ask you this all the time that are going to Wrigley Field, and we actually have some people that will bump into you and they'll go, "Oh my gosh, I saw Vers in Chicago." What would be your recommendation? I know everybody says, "Well, you got to go to Murphy's." For people that have been going there for a long time, there's more than Murphy's, even though Murphy's is really good. What is like a couple other your go-to around Wrigley Field before you go into the ballpark?
So we were Bernie's forever in a day. Like we were being in Bernie's a few years ago. I had a gentleman that might have hurt that relationship a little bit, but so we go there sometimes. The Cubby Bear is always fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's so much around it now, and there's a sweet like barbecue place, but the stuff changes over so quick. I would say if you hit, of course, Murphy's, it's a landmark. You have to. I know Wiegert and the guys, if they're in town, so Terry Keeley and Wiegert and the boys, they'll be at Sports Corner. That's a good one.
Yep.
And then, yeah, I mean, you can't, like, now my recommendation, I wouldn't hop around a whole bunch. I would get in somewhere, set an anchored base, and then just have a good time in there because it's just fun. Like, everybody's all excited. You'll see a bunch of people like, oh, we're going to suck. You know, some people be like, oh, no, we're going to be okay. And then some will be like, yeah, I'm just here to drink. Like, I don't even know baseball's going on.
The Dugout Bar is another good place right there when you get off the train and you come down the stairs.
Good call.
Yeah.
Sheffield's is good too.
Yeah.
Like me some
Yeah,
Sheffield.
you can't go wrong. But Limo Lou will drop us right out Rizzo. So
so how did we meet Limo Lou?
So about 5 years ago, we were walking down Michigan as kind of a crew, and we were just kind of waving, like trying to get a couple cabs. And this dude pulls up, and he's got what looks like a really nice, like medium size, bigger than a short bus, but shorter than a bus.
Mm-hmm.
So he pulls up, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want to ride?" We're just like, "Yeah, this could be bad. Like, we could be missing people after this." And so we kind of start to talk to him. And he's like, "Look, get in." And so look inside. This thing is plush. Like, it's got great seats, like 4 or 5 rows of seats. Coolers in the back. Like, he's got it stocked up. It's got a disco ball. It's got a good sound system. He's like, yeah. He goes, this is what I do. And so then cards were exchanged, and ever since then we've had Limo Lou.
Nice.
All right. Do you have good seats today?
Nice.
We are, I think Mikey, Paulie, and I are sitting, we're section 14, row 18. So I should be either to the camera, to the TV's right of a right-handed or left-handed batter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're right behind home plate.
Weather-wise, what are we looking at? Not that it matters.
It's supposed to be like 51.
Nice.
So, yeah. So I guess I'll probably wear my shorts, sweatshirt.
Some patio drinking too?
You always do.
No, I'm just kidding. It's me. Oh, yeah. They'll be drinking.
All right.
Post-game drinking, pre-game drinking, all the drinking.
And then you fly back tomorrow?
I do. At some point in time. I don't know what time I do.
Now, I know last year you had to go get Pedialyte. You took Pedialyte this year, right? You packed it in the
No,
carry-on?
unfortunately, no. I ran over to the bodega, and he remembered me. He goes, so I'm walking in, and I was probably in one a little bit. Like I was probably a little more buzzed this year when I went to do shopping and got some vodka. I will not buy chew. I will not buy chew here because it's like $42 a 10. And so I'm buzzing around, and I get up to the counter, and he goes, "Hey, baseball guy, Pedialyte, no hangover." I was like, "That's me." Good to see you.
That's when you know you've left an impression when you get the PDLI just served on a freaking platter. That is fantastic.
Well, I don't think they get many tips when they're working at the counter. So I tipped him last year.
Oh,
here you go.
That's why I remember you.
That'll leave an impression.
You got what would be considered a successful season for us Cubs.
It's so my sports like team life is very similar in all aspects. So through my life, every team that I've loved has won a championship. It's great. It's an unbelievable run. I've been able to be happy for all my teams. Now they're all very mediocre at best. So I think I have the same expectation for the Cubs, Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, and our beloved Nebraska Cornhuskers. Let's just get to 500 somehow, some way. Let's just find 500 and then see where the road leads us from there.
I like that. I always say
my Man City squad is awesome.
I say everybody's going to win 60 and they're going to lose 60. It's what you do with the other 40 games. Hey, before we let you get on to your next drink of the day, I do want to ask you, because yesterday I think you knew this was in the works. Trev made it official that they are welcoming back Coach Solich for the game, the spring game coming up in April. Your thoughts on Coach being back in the stadium for the first time since he was the head coach?
I think it's so far overdue and so awesome that he's going to be back in the building. If people have problems with EJ's video correcting AJ, you may never ever want to go find any film of Frank Solich running backs through torturous things and expecting no less than perfection down to the centimeter. Amazing human being, amazing dude. So happy to have him just coming back, and he's awesome. Frank Solich is the man.
Yep, that's it's going to be a cool day next month of the spring game. Hey, I appreciate it. Enjoy the day, man. We live vicariously through you on opening day, and you're a pro at this. This should be fun, and hopefully it'll be a Marcus Stroman over Corbin Burns day at Wrigley.
I agree. I'm not holding out much hope on that, but it is. You develop some patterns. I know at what point in time of the night that I'm going to drink myself back sober. And so if I can hold out and get it to that point. That's about 1:15 a.m.
All right. Make sure that phone is charged up.
Oh yeah, I gotta get her going. All right, boys.
Hey, thanks, Vers. That's Matt Versal, opening day at Wrigley Field. Vers 51 is where to go for content like Limo Lou and other places.
My liver hurts just thinking about it. It sounds glorious.
I would assume, well, just his voice too. Ver's got a deep voice, but that's just a little deeper. That's
we could have him cut liners.
When
he brought 10 minutes in.
Well, he brought the cigar. It's like, yep. I think we all go down a few octaves the morning after
Man,
an
you really
encounter
sounded
with a cigar.
like Johnny Cash singing "Walk the Line." Huh?
I hope we do get to see the inside look of the Limo Lou. We'll see what we're working with this bus, this party bus. That's a score too. I mean, trying to hail a cab like before, like Uber and Lyft were popular, like in Chicago, and then all of a sudden, just this little bus comes rolling up, stocked with beer and whatnot. Like the amount of times that I've been in Chicago, and that has never happened to me in my life. Like, talk about just a random score right there. That's huge.
If you're gonna do it right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Looks like the weather's going to be good.
Yep.
Weather down in Kansas City is going to be good.
Yeah.
Is that sold out?
It should be, but I did get an email yesterday about tickets.
Is it a bad look if you don't sell out your opening day?
Yeah, especially there, because for years you couldn't get a ticket on opening day, even when they weren't good. So if you're at that right now,
well, it's supposed to be 60 here, so I'm assuming in Kansas City
they'll be in
probably
the 70s.
Yeah,
take the over.
Man, that's gonna be
with that pitching matchup.
Take
the
that
over.
A little bit of wind, that'll be good.
I can tell you. Let's quickly give our NL MVP and Cy Young. A Cub or a Royal will not be winning the MVP. There you go. That's why they call me Bob Uecker. AL, I know it's easy to say Ohtani is going to win the American League MVP, and so I'm putting him aside because he may do it. I like Jose Ramirez from the Guardians. I finally think he gets his due.
Okay.
And in the National League, I think this is a bounce back year for Acuna. Those are my MVP, my two Cy Young. I also think this is the year that Garrett Cole finally wins a Cy Young. And then I will go with the Miami Marlin, Alcantara, who is pitching today against Scherzer in the Mets at Miami. He will be my National League Cy Young Award winner.
I'm going Julio Rodriguez in the American League. I'm going Trey Turner in the National League. The American League Cy Young, I'm kind of going back and forth on this one too, but let me give a change of uniform to Jacob deGrom. Let's go Jacob deGrom with that one. And then if we're talking about National League Cy Young, Corbin Burns, you mentioned him earlier.
He gave a lot of home runs last year. I hope he gives it like 4 or 5 today. Dansby Swanson, Cody Bellinger.
My prediction, I feel boring. Mine are exactly with Gary's, except Corbin Burns.
Yeah.
I like him. I don't know about today.
Not to be confused with Corbin Burnson, but yeah.
That's where I go. You think April's too early for Roger Dorn night?
Still, you know what? People knock Major League 2, not as good as Major League 1, which I'd agree, but some of the one-liners from Major League 2, priceless.
Rookie Gunnar Henderson from the Orioles. And I will go Carroll with his new deal with the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks will be better than people think. I actually think a team that they're not gonna contend for a playoff spot, but will be better than probably is being assumed because they had a terrible offseason when they get Judge and Correa. I think San Francisco will be better, but I like Henderson with the Orioles and Carroll with the Diamondbacks.
We'll go Volpe and Walker. Volpe is like a little bit of that pressure. You don't know, but I was reading something the other day. They're talking about like kind of the transformation of the Yankees and just the coming years. Been talking about shortstop and the lack of production that they've had there. Hell, Volpe, if he can just be above average, how far that could go for that team.
Carroll and Volpe.
I'm telling you though,
no pressure.
Yeah, and the Jordan Walker again for a guy that I think in that lineup probably going to be a little bit overlooked, but he can swing it.
All right, we still have our World Series picks and our favorite overs and unders. We'll do Ask Us Anything coming up here in a little bit. Brian Edwards has got numbers. He's got his thoughts on the Final Four, and he's got an NIT pick for tonight between UAB and North Texas.
Conference USA.
You forget that the NIT is being played. Imagine if Bronny James was playing in the game. Then you get a lot of attention. All right. By the way, Dad, if there has been more of a blatant travel, check out LeBron against the Bulls last night. Also check out Austin Reeves saying that Patrick Bev is a little too small. He returned the favor. All right. Coming up, all of that as we lead you until 10, opening day of Major League Baseball. First games come up at 12:05. So if you're dabbling in some stuff on FanDuel, you have until 12:05 on any win totals, the overs and unders on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Warm and windy weather on the way for Thursday. Still cool early on, but warming up quickly as winds turn more out of the south, gusting around 35 miles per hour in the early afternoon. Highs will top out around 70. Wind advisory goes into effect at 4 p.m. as we could see wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour into Friday morning. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
This is the official station of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament in Omaha. Follow all the action from first tip-off to the final buzzer right here. Westwood One's coverage of March Madness is locally presented by Woodhouse Auto Family and is also brought to you locally by John Higgins Weather Guard, Omaha Athletics, and 10 and Wally's Premium Ice Cream on Omaha's home for America's favorite tournament, 1620, The Zone.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-898-6155 now. Drivers again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-898-6155. That's 800-898-6155. What do you have to lose? Call 800-898-6155. Again, 800-898-6155.
I thought learning a language would be too much work. Then I discovered Babbel. They make learning fun. J'aime Babbel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, quick and easy. And soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
My friend from Italy said my accent and pronunciation is perfect. It's because Babbel's lessons are designed by language teachers and voiced by real native speakers. Each lesson is like living in another country for 15 minutes.
I love that there's all kinds of ways to learn. Babbel's podcast or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
You learn words and phrases you actually use in real conversations.
In 3 weeks, I was starting to speak in another language. So easy.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than Babbel.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Lenaha Nurseries has been your dependable full-service source for locally grown trees, plants, and landscape materials. Rooted in tradition, our products and services are consistently ranked best of Omaha in quality and value. From design to install, our experts are here to help bring your landscape vision to life. Start your next project this weekend. Visit us at 192nd and Center, Lenaha Nurseries, your homegrown headquarters since 1974.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Never in my lifetime that I think that Eric Hosmer would be an opening day first baseman for the Cubs. He's batting 7th today against the Brewers. He's going to play.
I like your middle, though.
He's actually going to play a lot.
I like your middle.
The Royals have traded Richard Lovelady to the Braves for cash considerations. He was not happy being optioned to Omaha, so that's probably a good thing. Before we get into a couple of questions on Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Oscar's Pizza and Grill. I like Houston, Atlanta. I'm going to be boring. We just had it a couple years ago. Houston, Atlanta in the World Series. The Atlanta Braves will win the World Series.
I got half of that. I got Atlanta beating San Diego in the NLCS. I've got the Yankees taking down Houston with your 2023 World Series champion being, try not to gag, the New York Yankees.
Gross.
Mhm.
All right, but fair. At some point, maybe they find a way to get over them, but it won't be this year. The Astros beat the Yankees. Great series, great pitching, great players, all that stuff. The Astros beat them in 6 games, and the Padres, once again, 25 years later, ruining the Braves' successful season, and they defeat them in a 7-game epic NLCS. And the World Series, the Astros getting revenge for the 98 LDS. They beat the Padres in 6 games.
If we get I was trying to think of it. Some of the different matchups that I was kind of going through that could happen. What was it? The Atlanta. Who the hell? I'm totally blanking. I had a bunch of different scenarios, but there was a throwback one that very well could have happened. Now I'm really trying to wrap my brain on this one.
Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and the Phillies.
Oh, Atlanta, yes, Atlanta, Philly. Thank you. I think that was one that I was trying to see if there could be something there, but no. I'm just Yankees. As I said, I didn't have one in the division. Team that I think can get hot though. Are we doing the overs too? Or is that
we'll do those after
Okay.
Ask Us Anything. All right. A couple of questions here. As you always have a chance on Thursdays to win a gift card from Oscar's Pizza and Grill. 173rd and Center for the whole experience. That'd be a good place for Bernie to take me to lunch today. Watch the Cubs game. Just a subtle hint. They have the home of the Big O Pizza, the Charbuff Wings, and cold beer. I mean cold.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Be 73 today. Perfect day for it.
They don't need to advertise how cold their beer is. Their beer is cold at Oscar's. And you never know who you might run into there. Never know.
You always say that. Interesting.
I always run into somebody I would not expect at Oscar's at 173rd and Center. They happen to be coaches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mike, is there a certain type that you associate to Oscars? Like
not Frank Solich. I did run into Frank Solich when he was recruiting for Ohio when he was back. I think this was when he was recruiting Casey Sales from Omaha North. He was at a gas station. And I was like a couple of pumps over, and I thought, God, that looks like Coach Solich.
Did you talk to him?
Yeah, I walked over. And I mean, that, little Frank, that when he's got a huge smile. Yeah, and we stood there and talked for like 10 minutes, and we could have talked longer, but I noticed that people were starting to recognize him. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? He's in town. He was wearing an Ohio polo. And I'm like, okay, great to see Coach Solich. So I did not see him there, but the last time I was in there recently, I saw a coach that you would not expect. They were in there, and they were actually by themselves just eating lunch.
An active coach or a former?
Active college basketball coach.
Oh.
That I did not expect to see there. So you never know who you might see there. Okay. You might see Bernie and me later today watching the Cubs game. Bernie hasn't responded. Also, takeout only on 162nd and Maple.
All right, I got some good ones today. Hold on. All right, let me clear my throat. Would you rather be able to take an all-expenses paid dream vacation for a month every year or have the job of your dreams?
All expenses paid dream vacation every year.
Yeah. It can be wherever you want. If you want it to be Sheboygan, it can be Sheboygan. It's your vacation.
I'm going to still take the job of my dreams because I feel like the job of my dreams would also have a financial component that would allow me to have some really good vacations.
Seems like a cop-out.
What? No?
Yeah, it's like you're cheating.
Just saying.
I mean, I'll give you the first part. You can have the job, but now you're cheating. Oh, I can buy the dream vacation. What
Yeah, I mean, part of the dream job, how much vacation do you get?
Vacation is a weekend trip to Kansas City to the K to watch baseball.
A month every year, I'd take the vacation.
Both are appealing, but yeah, just give me the dream job.
I would go with the vacation.
Okay.
Little all-inclusive swim-up bar.
Yeah. Oh, you and me, same page there.
As much rum as I want.
I've got a couple of musts if I do the the vacation, whether it's all inclusive or whatever. You got to have a swim up bar, and they've got to have the ability. I'm not picky, but the ability to have prompt replenishing of the minibar. I've been to some places that they just don't do that.
That's redeeming right there.
And everything else, that's fine. Give me a beach. Give me an accessible beach would be nice, but not high on my priority list.
I'd be tempted to say job of my dreams, but then you talk about that vacation.
There's just something about hanging out in the pool.
Well, the job
and being able to swim up to the bar.
It would be a nice little vacation. You would do 81 games a year at Wrigley Field.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Question number 2 is equally intriguing. Would you rather be the lead singer in a famous rock band or the lead guitarist? See, this one's easy for me.
I think the obvious answer should be lead singer because they get all the ladies.
No, the drummer does.
But
I don't know why.
Aren't you the first to go downhill too with all the partying? I don't know. Lead guitar. Yeah, I'll say lead singer.
Guitarist every day of the week. Anytime I play anything here with a guitar or I hear it on the radio, I'm like,
oh, I thought you said like you when you play with the guitar. I'm like, do you play? Do you dabble?
Guitar in my next life.
Oh, okay.
No. My next life, I'll take lessons and go from there. That's an easy one.
Really?
Well, I don't want to be the singer. You get the fame and all that, but
yeah. You're a little more front and center as a singer. A little more pressure.
Hear Jimmy Page just playing the guitar. You hear Hendrix. I mean, we could go on and on. You hear Eddie. It's like, yeah.
It's true about Eddie.
So you might hate Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth, but you love Eddie. I would go guitarist.
I'd go singer. I'm a bit of a diva, though, I guess, too. So probably speaks more volumes about me.
Play the crap out of a 15-minute solo. Mm-hmm. And yes, you have your voice in your later years because you haven't been screaming.
Well, that is true. I mean,
Then this conversation come down, what would you rather be, Bruce Springsteen or Stevie Van Zandt?
Stevie, because he was in The Sopranos. Come on. That's living the life.
Now, that's an added part of this question. Would you rather be the lead singer or the guitarist and in a prominent role on The Sopranos?
The Sopranos, yeah.
But you know that you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
You have to wait until the
But at least it's at the end.
See, when you throw in Eddie Van Halen, though, rest in peace, that does make me have more of appreciation for the guitar hero. So, but I'll stick with, just for the sake of being different, I'll go with lead singer.
With your dream job.
With my dream job.
Buying your vacation.
Yeah, maybe my dream job is a lead singer.
What do you think the reaction is when you're an actor and you find out that they're going to kill you off in a show?
So
like you don't know, your contract's not up.
Yeah.
You're not having like any contract squabble, but you're sitting there at the table read and you're going through the script and you're like, oh,
that's me.
I get shot and I die. And this isn't Grey's Anatomy where I could come back.
Well, so if you're giving me the parameters of there's no contract dispute or no like inner turmoil where it's like, okay, this is how we naturally phase you out, I think I'd be crushed because I always assume that's why they kill off characters, is because there's something going on between negotiations or some type of inner turmoil between the brass and said actor or actress.
I'd say make it epic. Make it something they talk about the next morning then. Don't give me a disease.
So what you're saying, okay. I thought you said like over.
No, I'm not want to go all Brian's song here.
Like, do you
make it epic?
Do you improvise a little bit of whatever is on the script? Like, do you go out with just a loud bang, overact the crap out of it?
Like I actually just talking about Stevie. That's what I think of.
Like you go Kramer and all full like yellow paint with the jaundice. Was it liver some type of liver disease?
No, that would just be my only request. I accept it. We've had a good run. It's paid me well. Just give me a cool way to go out. Don't just fade to black.
I would think if you're on good standing, you could probably call your shot on how you go, right?
That's how I see it.
I think that'd be fair.
Thank you to Oscar's Pizza and Grill. We do that every Thursday for a chance to win a gift card to those good folks. They're two fantastic locations here in town. All right, to finish up our opening day discussion on our favorites, my favorite overs, I like Pittsburgh over 67.5. I like Cleveland over 86.5. And I like the White Sox over 83.5.
I went 2 on this. I'm going Arizona over 74.5, like Arizona. And then I'm going to go with the Angels over 81.5. So those are the 2 teams that I have hitting the over.
I got the Angels over their 81.5, the Royals under their 68.5, Reds under 65.5, and the Padres over 93.5. I really like them. I think if they're healthy and they put it together, they're going to be a wagon this year.
My unders, Oakland under 59.5. All of these are up on FanDuel. Under Boston 78.5, and under Colorado 64.5. You guys are like crushed. What do you think? Colorado's going to win 90?
No,
that was him.
Oh no, I don't disagree with you. It just
I was like,
I hate
do
the
you
Rockies.
realize that Dick Monfort still owns the Rockies?
And that's exactly why that's a good one.
Even though I got him in the wild card, I got the Dodgers under 96.5. That's still a lot. And I'm going with Philadelphia. Not again, these two teams barely hitting the under, but I got Philadelphia going under 89.5.
Yeah, I'm with you with Philly. Dodgers under. I mean, that's still can't get over that. Pittsburgh. I like the Pittsburgh over though. I don't like them being that bad. You get in the 70s, not by much.
Hey, we'll see how long they hold on to Brian Reynolds. They're going to be. They won't be 62 and 100 again.
Yeah,
they just went on a limb. Remember,
72 and 90.
everybody wins 60.
I
It's
like
what
that.
you do with the other.
Yeah.
With the other 42 games.
That's the first time I've heard that.
You
I
heard
like
Verse's
that.
reaction.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh,
yeah, I do like that." That's what separates the men from the boys.
He'll share that nugget with his crew today and be like, "Damn,
they'll be blown away." Like, well, have another old style.
I did not have Arizona as
have another Goose Island
wild card team, but Arizona intrigues me in that division.
All right, Brian Edwards going to join us next. He didn't have any win totals, but he does have some thoughts on the next 3 days of basketball. That's all coming up now. See, everybody's upset. Is Jamie, who is Jamie and Chad, the UPS driver, are the two biggest Oriole fans that live in this town.
Nice, good for them.
All right. So, all right. 41 past the hour. Brian Edwards is coming up next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has come to the attention of the Nebraska Lottery that when people hear a radio commercial in their car for one of our lotto games, Powerball, Mega Millions, or Lucky for Life, they tend to begin daydreaming about how they'll spend the prize money if they win, instead of paying attention to the road. So please, when I tell you that Nebraska Lottery Lotto games offer big money and big fun, keep your mind on driving. Do not start thinking about all the things you could buy if you win. Things like bright red sports cars, tropical vacations, 100-inch TVs, hot tubs, SUVs, a new computer, motorboats.
Bob, snap out of it.
Oh, good heavens. Ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. Perhaps I should go home now.
You better let me drive.
Lotto games from the Nebraska Lottery. Top prize odds vary by game.
It's good to be able to make a change, to never feel stuck. That's why at Cox, we're making a change too. Now Cox Internet plans are flexible, so you can choose to just go with Internet, add TV tomorrow, or home automation down the line. It's easier than ever to get just what you want and nothing you don't. Flexible plans from Cox. Change anytime. No commitments, no penalties. See for yourself at cox.com/internet. Additional services can be added at then current regular rates. All services subject to residential customer service agreement and acceptable use policy. Restrictions apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
PACE, Police Athletics for Community Engagement Organization, is dedicated to preventing at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children from becoming involved in street gangs, crime, drug use, and victimization. Last year, PACE served over 5,000 area kids with wholesome competition and free participation in soccer, baseball, CrossFit, and flag football. To help PACE and local families make sure kids have access to safe and fun spring and summer activities, please go to paceomaha.org to support the PACE mission. Thank you.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 11th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let us handle all the details steps away on the south side of Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination. Blur Events takes care of all the work so you can enjoy the day.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, time for the senior handicapper at VegasInsider.com. It is Brian Edwards. Good Thursday morning, B, ahead of the NIT final, the women's Final Four, and, of course, the men's Final Four. That is the epicenter of college basketball is the state that you reside in, Florida.
What's happening? Doing well over here.
Hey, let me ask, before we dive into the NIT, who you like tonight, and the men's Final Four, I'm watching this from afar. What's the meaning behind Billy Napier giving Graham Mertz number 15 at Florida? There was a guy named Tim Tebow wore that number. What's going on?
I have no idea. I volunteered to drive to Gainesville and grab the athletic director, Scott Strickland, after he takes his pink slip and drive him back to Mississippi where he belongs. I have no idea what's going on with my football program. I've never had lower expectations for a season. We've got 3 scrubs in the quarterback room. We don't got a ball coach or a quarterback on campus. It's never been as down and as bad as it is now.
I have no idea what the decision is, but they deserve the criticism to give anybody number 15. I don't know. There is a statue outside of the swamp of number 15. If Billy Napier did not know.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume everybody from the outside is seeing what I see. I mean, it's an absolute dumpster fire, and it's driving me bonkers.
Hey, one quick question on football, because I don't know that we've ever discussed this, and I'm curious because there will be Anthony Richardson is starting to get a lot of love as he moves up the draft boards. Do you dabble at all in the NFL draft on the odds of who's going to be the first pick, first quarterback, that kind of stuff? Have you ever done that?
But because I'm in Florida, my accounts don't give like legit future. I mean, they give them, but if they're a little stingy with them, if that makes sense. Yeah. So normally no on that, but I did kick myself. I mean, I'll probably be okay, but Richardson was 100-1 to go number 1, 6 weeks ago. And then in the span of 10 days, he went from 100-1 to 3-1. I still don't think he's going to go first, but I think he's got a good shot at going top 5. And I think he definitely goes top 10.
That is wild to think that. I mean, the Anthony Richardson I watched against Utah, I'm agreeing with you. The Anthony Richardson not too long after that against Kentucky, I'm like, how is he a top 5 pick?
One last thing on him, Gary. The thing that I don't hear all these talking heads on NFL Network and ESPN, and you're exactly right. I mean, against Utah, against Tennessee, against FSU, and maybe 1 or 2 other games, he looked spectacular. But, when he looked so horrible against Kentucky in week 2 and South Florida in week 3, that was the 3rd and 4th start of his career. You know what I'm saying? And so, he's only started 13 games in his whole career. It's just going to take him some time, but I think he's got all the talent in the world for sure.
I don't know if there is something that we can trace back on the All-Conference USA NIT final plus a Conference USA team in the Final Four. Could we have possibly gotten any type of heavy action on that?
I doubt there were. Yeah, I mean, they had a lot of props for the different conferences. In fact, I feel bad for the under 3.5 wins on the Mountain West because that fucking gold that San Diego State crushed them last week. I don't think there were any Conference USA ones, but like you said, we've got 2 Conference USA teams tonight, and we've certainly got FAU still standing. I'm going to go with UAB -2. So North Texas swept them in the regular season, but the game in Birmingham, Jelly Walker, UAB's best player, was out injured. He was back when they played at North Texas. North Texas won by 3 in overtime. In the Conference USA tournament, UAB avenged that loss. They won by 7. I like UAB -2.
All right, now we go to the Final Four, where we like our Blue Bloods in the opening weekend, or we like our Cinderellas in the opening weekend. We just don't want them to be part of the second weekend, and of course not our third weekend. But we get San Diego State and FAU, and this line has been anywhere from a 1.5 to a 2-point favorite for San Diego State. San Diego State plays incredible defense, as we saw here firsthand on Sunday against Creighton, especially when it comes to shooting the 3 ball. I'm intrigued by FAU. What stands out in this matchup, and what side are you leaning?
So I'm going to go with FAU, and I'm going to go with the under. I'm going to be on under 132 for a little bit more amount-wise. The under's cashed in 12 straight for San Diego State and is on a 14-1 run, and its last 15. The under's on a 5-2 run, and FAU's last 7. I think it's a similar matchup for FAU as the Tennessee game, a game they won 62-55 for 117 combined points. Excuse me, San Diego State's 4th nationally in defensive efficiency at Ken Palm's 2nd at defending the 3-point line, but FAU D's up 2. They held Memphis to 65. Memphis has been averaging 79.5. And they held UAB to 56 in the Conference USA tournament, and UAB averages 82.2. So I'm going to go with the under. And again, FAU, they are 6-2, both straight up and against the spread, 8 games as an underdog. And again, I think Tennessee and San Diego State are very similar. We saw FAU win that game. Were able to score enough points. And San Diego State struggles offensively the same way that Tennessee does. And I think FAU's got enough shooters, enough guys that can get to the rim off a dribble. And I think FAU wins a close, low-scoring game.
All right, so we know the betting favorite to win the national championship is UConn, taking on Miami second half of Saturday's national semifinals. 5.5 is what favors UConn in that matchup. Where are you leaning?
So these teams have both been great to me the whole tournament. I've had Miami all 4 games. I didn't have UConn against Iona. I know I had them both games last weekend. I'm not even remembering who they played around this 32. But anyhow, I'm going to go the Kane pre-game, pre-flop, if you will, plus the 5.5. But let's say I have 1 unit on that. If UConn's got a 6 to 7 point lead mid first half, and I can get Miami as like a 10-point underdog, then I'll go like 2 units on that. Like I'm not going to turn down Miami as a dog. And by the way, they're 9-1 against the spread with 7 outright wins as a dog this year. But going back to late February of 2021, Miami's been an underdog 31 times, and they are 26-4-1 against the spread with 18 outright wins. So I'm taking Miami pregame, but I want to get them at plus 9 or 10 or better, and then I'll get more aggressive on the Miami side. But look, both teams are playing great. It's hard to go against either club right now.
Is there any scenario on Monday night where UConn is not a favorite?
No. In fact, FanDuel has them as a 4.5-point favorite to San Diego State, a 6.5-point favorite to FAU, and Miami is a 1.5-point favorite to FAU. And San Diego State, I don't know why they do the half point instead of 1 point, but San Diego State's a half-point favorite over Miami. I would like Miami in both of those scenarios. I would like UConn minus 4.5 to San Diego State. And I'd probably lean to UConn laying 6.5 to FAU, although another win for FAU would make it kind of hard to lay a lot of points. And if UConn is dominant against Miami, I think they'll be laying more than 6.5 against FAU.
That would be that'd be interesting to see how that adjustment would be if FAU pulled off the upset. Great stuff, B. We appreciate it. Enjoy the Final Four weekend.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
That's Brian Edwards, FAU getting 2 and the under in that game. The under was great in the first week of the NCAA tournament, and then the overs were hammering on the second weekend.
The San Diego State FAU game just feels like the under.
Under and too much Aztec defense. I mean, in that dome and the shooting, and it just plays right into their hands. I think we're destined for a UConn San Diego State final.
Too bad they can't reseed.
That'll be the next thing.
Reseeding.
Well, when they expand the tournament, won't they ask for reseeding from round to round?
Oh, yes, LeVar expanded to like 256 teams because I want my blue bloods. Watch us get 3 really good games. I don't think so, but what if we did?
I don't know that it would affect the TV ratings, but I don't know if the TV ratings affect me. I'm going to watch no matter what.
Absolutely.
The general fan doesn't like party crashers on their Final Four weekend. We like them in the first couple of days. Boy, we salivate to get the party crashers. We really don't want them in the second weekend. We definitely don't want them in the third weekend if you're the casual basketball fan. We got them. I mean, that's a worst-case scenario. That's how Jim Nance is going out. Jim Nance is done on Monday night.
Yeah.
He's like last year would have been a perfect, okay, North Carolina KU, the way that game ended, that's the end. Yep. I hand my tie over. This year he's going to hand his tie over probably to Danny Hurley or Dusty May.
The owl soar above the rest.
Could in the state of Florida,
I'm up for Dutcher.
Is there any way that if FAU pulled off major upsets and won the national championship, the Dusty May would be more popular than Dusty Rhodes in the state of Florida?
Ooh. I mean, you'd have to tell us. I don't know.
What would
I'm gonna go no.
See, and you know this a lot. You know this a lot better.
Come on, Dusty Rhodes.
In your Florida connection. What would Boca do? What would that be like in Boca?
Enjoy the nice weather and freshies.
Would they have to have a very early parade so everyone could have dinner at 4?
Let's be honest. If FAU basketball gets beat on Saturday, they're on to something new on Sunday. Okay? Let's don't make it up like all of a sudden, hey, the South Florida's just going nuts.
No, I'm not trying to say that. I just want to know what it'd be like.
I think there's more excitement for Miami because of Larinaga.
Okay.
Now, the FAU story is really, really good because now you're finding out the backstory of how bad the facilities were when Dusty May took over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a good story. I don't know if all of a sudden that area becomes a college basketball.
An all Florida final then.
That area will always be first and foremost Dolphins.
Yep.
And then Dolphins will be second. And then if the Heat have LeBron and D Wade and they're winning titles, then they get into the mix.
We're back.
I mean, it would be the reaction of the country to having 2 South Florida teams that aren't, very far apart playing. I don't know what that would do for the game.
FAU,
but people,
Miami.
if they lose, they're on something else on Sunday. They're back to who the Dolphins going to draft in the NFL draft, and if they're, what quarterback has not been mentioned to take over for Tua that they have to shoot down.
And what's the latest Miami scandal?
See it now, FAU Miami on the Sunshine Network. Sign me up.
Oh, those were the days.
Mm-hmm.
All right, enjoy your opening day. Half the teams are going to win, half the teams are going to lose. Not everybody's going to go 162-0. Not everybody's going to go 0-162. Somebody's going to go maybe 59-103.
Will anybody be eliminated today?
The Royals.
Nope.
Oakland.
Okay.
Not today.
Not today.
Not today.
You give them a couple days.
And also, I wouldn't be surprised if the same 6 in the AL and the NL that were in the playoffs last year are back again this year. That'll disappoint Rob Manfred in the competitive.
Well, from a rooting interest, I would very much like that.
All right. Don't forget, Royals and Twins are over on 1180 later in the afternoons. They open up the season down at the K. All 30 in action. We're in action again tomorrow with more on the Final Four, the women and the men. The women go tomorrow night. The men go to on Saturday. We'll do that when we rejoin you tomorrow at 6. For Jimmy, for Nick, I'm Gary. It's mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio,